Hi, my name is Josh Bashinsky, and this is a demo of a new AI system that I have partially engineered called KeyWordSpy. KeyWordSpy is the ultimate online tool for determining your keywords, for finding what keywords will actually boost your pages. And we took a revolutionary approach to trying to determine what keywords you should use. Instead of other tools that take a random guess based off of natural language processors like Google's public demo, or WordNet, or other free open source natural language processors which are guessing at related words that maybe you should be putting in your page, we actually go through the actual AIs that Google is using, such as RankBrain, Bert, the knowledge graph, neural matching, and other on-page algorithms, and we actually test them directly to tell you exactly what keywords you should be using in your pages that are guaranteed to boost you. Our system has been backed and tested by Underground SEO University, which I also run. This is the backbone of all of our on-page theories that we've wrapped into one single tool. And we guarantee that if you use this tool properly, you're going to see boosts in your pages. Because we're not guessing what the keywords are, we test and we know what the keywords are. So it's super exciting. Grab yourself a beer or a drink or whatever it is you like to drink, a coffee, whatever it is, and watch me go through the actual over-the-shoulder tutorial of how to use KeyWordSpy, how we would use what we also call AI Spy, which is going to help you with helpful content and product review content. It also has a content editor, which wraps all of this deep data information up through artificial intelligences, actually suggesting how you should make your page, making SEO very quick and very easy, but also very powerful using the actual right keywords as opposed to just random guesses of other tools. So let's take a look to see how KeyWordSpy actually works and how you can boost your SEO really quick. Okay, so when you get into the tool, you're going to notice a couple of things. Just to let you know, it's very early days with our tool. And yes, it is usable and it's being used by dozens of users, and all the AI logic in the back end that we focus the most on and the special testing that it does we focus the most on is all robust and working and ready to go on the back end. The tool is in beta in terms of the user interface. It's going to be a little rough around the edges, I'll let you know. There's some things that are going to change and we're going to improve and just make better over time when we get more of a user base. So the back end logic is all there. You can use it. It definitely will help you. It definitely works. Just some of the user interface stuff might be a little rough around the edges. You're going to see stuff moving around, colors changes, things like that, cosmetic changes. But now is the time to get into the tool, because I'll let you know right now, right off the top, we are grandfathering the first 100 users to a very low price. Compared to all the other tools out there, which are charging $500, $1,000, $2,000 for an AI tool that does everything that we do, including all of the testing to find your keywords, but then also all the content editing, all the content generation, all the AI generation, all the AI detection, and the synthesis of these two tools. No other tool works like this and does everything that we do in a single tool, at least not for under $500. So right now we're grandfathering the first 100 users to a mere $144 US, not including any AI extra credits that you might need to buy, but you should have enough AI credits to use the tool for, dozens of keywords per month already. Anyone who wants to do more than that, obviously if you're an agency, there are upper tiers for more agency usage of more credits. And if you want to get in on the ground floor of what's going to be the best AI tool to do SEO and that will guaranteed boost your pages, because we're doing a ton of research on the actual AIs Google's are using, you want to get in on the ground floor really, really quick. So email me at joshbashinsky@gmail.com or go to trykeywordsspy.com. Again, that's trykeywordsspy.com. It should show up at the bottom of your page here. And sign up. The first 100 users are going to be grandfathered to a very, very low price. Finally, one last thing. We are very serious in keeping our information at the highest level of SEO testing. And for that reason, just to let you know, we are going to cap the users of KeyWordSpy. To say that again, we are capping the users of KeyWordSpy. We are going to cap at a certain amount. Now, we don't know what that amount is. It could be 1,000, it could be 5,000, but just so you know, KeyWordSpy will never be a tool that just anybody can use and we open it up to anybody. We're going to cap the user base of KeyWordSpy as low as possible so that we can keep the information inside it safe and keep your competitive edge safe. So that's another reason why you want to sign up and get grandfathered as soon as possible, because we will close the door and we will not just let anybody use this tool. We have to keep the knowledge safe. This is not SEMrush. This is not Ahrefs. We are far better than them. We do far more testing, as you're going to see. And this is not a one-size-fits-all for everybody where we're going to try and sell this to everyone, your mom and your dog. This is just for SEOs who want to keep this information safe. And so we are going to cap the amount of users on KeyWordSpy as well. So get in on the ground floor before you miss your chance. So let's take a look at how the tool actually works. So go to app.trykeywordspy.com. So when you log into the tool, you're going to get the dashboard. The dashboard is pretty simple. It tells you the credits you've used, how many you have left, tells you when your credits renew to ping our various AI systems that are going to do a ton of testing for you in the background. No tool does testing like this. You're going to be quite amazed when you see the kind of testing we're doing. It'll give you your recent searches on the right side. On the left side, it's going to give you the dashboard. KeyWordSpy is where you would go and set up and start your keyword research. AI Spy is going to help you with the helpful content and the product review update. That's going to give you automatic AI, very intelligent suggestions as to the kind of content that you need to satisfy these actual things that Google asks for. This is lifted straight from Google's website of you need to demonstrate the firsthand expertise after reading your content. Will someone leave feeling they've learned enough about a topic, etc., etc. That's from the actual Google website of what you're supposed to do for helpful content. We've used the intelligence of AI to build in to your content exactly what you need to do there. And so I'll go through all this, how this works. Reports is where you would also find the information and has a secondary, a tier 2 navigation to go directly to this EMQ, this exact match query, this keyword you're trying to work on. Project works, but I'll be doing a different demo for this at a later time to keep this demo as short as possible. Same with keyword discovery, it works. It'll be built out in the next few years to be the robust industry-leading standard of competitive research using an AI to analyze the SERPs like a human does, not like how Ahrefs does, which is just really link power at the end of the day, not how SEMrush does, which is just link power at the end of the day. In keyword discovery, we're going to actually build an AI that thinks like a human and can look at the page like a human and can tell certain things out about competitive analysis that no software can do right now, period. No software can do. And barely, not a lot of humans can do either, because it's going to be based on underground SEO universities, scientifically proven methods of determining what the real ranking factors are, and it'll tell you real competitive analysis. So you can laser focus on the keywords that will make you the most money. And last but not least is the content editor. It is the crown jewel of our system. I will tell you how in a second tutorial after this tutorial, how all of this works and all of the content that gets pulled in through the reports, all of this content here and all the AI analysis and guiding and in-depth processing that we're going to do and in-depth testing that I can't stress to you how different it is and how much better it is than every other tool in the industry using next generation AI with next generation SEO ideas. All that information is pulled into the content editor. I'll go over that in a second over-the-shoulder tutorial about how you would use that. You can build highly ranking pages, 5 minutes a pop. And you can also do more in-depth, a few hour SEO if that's the kind of SEO you like to do to really squeeze out every single little bit of ranking. I'm going to show you how to do it. That's how it all gets moved into the content editor, and you can do 5-minute pages there, or you can even do a few hour pages to squeeze out every little last bit of SEO juice out of your pages if you're competing in the really tough niches. We got you covered from local to international, and we've got you covered from easy niches, long tail niches, to the most competitive short tail queries that will make you the most money. Okay, so that's enough of an intro. Let's start off with KeyWordSpy and see how KeyWordSpy works, because that's where you're going to start using the tool. All right, so the keyword you want to put in here is your exact match query, the kind of keyword that you want to rank for. Let's start off here with CBD oil for cats. Now, you have location, exclude stop words, and SERP limit. Because we're actually going to be scraping and doing a deep AI analysis of your competitors, you're going to want to consider very carefully the location of the competitors that are going to come up, and you're going to want to consider very carefully the SERP limit. The smaller SERP limit will be quicker testing, will be faster. And if you want to go quick, you want to keep this to 50. Or if you want to reduce the amount of credits you use, you want to go to 50. But for me, when I'm doing SEO, I want to do the full 100 SERP analysis of 10 pages of Google, going through and analyzing all those competitors to find out all the little bits that the AI can generate, and the AI can analyze and the AI can generate, of all the secret ranking factors of what is putting them above you, and how you can both not only match what they have, but because we study the actual algorithms of what Google actually uses, we're going to show you how to beat and exceed what they have using artificial intelligence in a smarter way than any other tool does. So the last little bit here is location. Here's a little pro tip. If you want to extract the off-page factors from the analysis of the page one SERP analysis, the search results page of your competitors, you would want to choose a different country that doesn't have anything to do with any of the location-specific AIs. Take a look at this. This is the actual known entity layers used in search that has been reverse engineered by Underground SEO University. This is not all of them, but this is the ones that seem to have the lion's share of the ranking system. The ranking system in general is called RankBrain. It is a yin and yang system. The opposite to RankBrain, which demotes pages and de-indexes them, is SpamBrain, which is machine-learned average spam reported by users. It demotes and de-indexes pages. It de-ranks and de-indexes pages. So you want RankBrain to boost you based on the entities that get extracted from these AIs, and you want to escape SpamBrain noticing that when these AIs analyze that Google actually uses and reported using. If you go here to the Guide of Google Search Ranking Systems, published by Google themselves on the Google Search Central, developers.google.com, ranking system guide, they tell you the actual AIs they're using. This is published by Google. I didn't make this up. Look, they use BERT, which is their bidirectional encoder representations from Transformer. We tested this thoroughly in Underground SEO University, and we know exactly what they're using BERT for, and we'll show you how to get maximal ranking points out of BERT for all of your pages. They use other systems like deduplication systems, which we'll help you with. They use exact match domain systems that we're going to help you with. They use freshness systems that our tool will help you in, that you're going to be making fresh content. They use the helpful content system, which is a major ranking factor for on-page that our tool and our tool only has built in helping you with. They use MUM, which our tool is going to help you with when it comes to the multitask unified model, which also reads into images and reads into videos. Here's another major AI that Google uses that no one else helps you with. It's called neural matching. It is an AI, I'll just quote Google here. It says, it is an AI system that Google uses to understand representations of concepts in queries and pages and match them to one another. This is the premier ranking system that Google uses to boost pages and where most of the SEO keywords comes from, although definitely not the only place that SEO keywords come from. We are the only tool that will actually test this AI and show you how it works and get you actual scoring for keywords that are based on neural matching. This is not natural language processing. This is a neural matching AI, which is far different and published at a different time than both BERT, the transformer, which BERT is closest to GPT or ChatGPT, which we use systems like that to help you with BERT. And neural matching is a totally different AI that we had to totally reverse engineer and use a totally different AI method to give you the proper keywords for this. We are the only tool that does it, and you're going to be amazed at our testing for this and our suggestions that are going to be unique and different than every other tool. So keep watching, you're going to be amazed about this. There's other systems that they use that we help rank you for. The passage ranking system we help test for, that they're actually using. The product review system that they actually use, we actually test for and we actually help boost you. What other tool does this? No other tool. And finally, the RankBrain AI. We actually help test for RankBrain, and we actually rank the RankBrain keywords, because RankBrain is an AI system that helps us understand how words are related to concepts. So we help you return better, relevant content in a way that no other tool does. And these are the actual AIs that Google are using. And we actually help you avoid the spam detection systems as well by making sure your pages are not over-optimized, which again, no other tool does. So we help you with these systems, the BERT system, the neural matching system, helpful content, product review. We help you with something else called DOM vector, which is very important. We help you with the knowledge graph and finding the entities that Google is tracking. We test for all of this. We help find your local entities for your GMB. We help find your image entities using the Vision AI that Google uses. And we help with the search query linking system. So these are the AIs that Google is actually using. In our tool, we test for them. And to our knowledge, no other tool tests for all of these exactly in the way that Google uses them. They all use approximations of ChatGPT approximating Google keywords, or approximations of NLP open source programs that approximate Google keywords. We actually use Bert, we actually use helpful content, we actually use neural matching. We directly test these systems in ways no one else does. So let me show you how. It's super cool. Okay, so keep that in mind. So when we go to choose location, we're going to prioritize other AIs here, right? If we choose the location for the ranking factors, we're going with more RankBrain. If we go with the actual location you want to rank for, we're going more with the search query linking system. We're going more with the local entities. However, if I want to remove those signals out of the analysis that KeyWordSpy is going to do, I would want to choose a location that you don't care about the traffic, such as China. China is a great thing to use because presumably you're probably not trying to rank for China. And so it's going to extract all of the location related AIs and the location related information and give you stronger testing signals for neural matching keywords, for the DOM vector keywords, for the knowledge graph keywords, for the BERT keywords, for helpful content keywords, and product review keywords. So to repeat, if you're doing a local keyword, like let's say I was doing massage therapy Calgary, Alberta, old Calgary, good old Calgary. If I was doing a local query like that, I definitely want to choose Canada, okay? I want all those local signals in there. However, if I'm going to do something different, like let's say I want to do CBD oil for my cat, and I'm doing some kind of no-do, some kind of middle of the search funnel, transactional informational search query, then I probably want to get the right keywords, and I want to choose China for that. And I wouldn't bother excluding any stop words. We use AI intelligence here to exclude the stop words you don't need to worry about. And you probably, surprisingly, like other tools, they want to remove stop words like from or the or or to. You actually don't want to remove those stop words. That's a little secret that nobody else knows. I would leave the stop words alone. We're going to handle the stop words to make phrases and to have our AI analyze what you should be using here or there. And the pros would go with top 100 results. If you want to go super fast and you're doing spray and pray, I'm going to try and accommodate both styles in this tutorial. I'm going to try to accommodate spray and pray and going super fast and just getting AI to generate articles for you based on AI testing super fast as you can, and still have it really high quality and be good and escape AI content generation filters and whatnot. Or I'm going to go also to the full other side and go fully surgical. So fully surgical, you would spend hours on one keyword to get it super utterly maximized. That's what I would do for the top 100 results. If you're doing spray and pray, going super fast, I would do the top 50. And hey, both methods are perfectly valid methods depending on your business plan of who you are as an SEO and your clients or your in-house or your projects and what you're doing. It's all the same. SEO is all the same for all those. Sometimes people want to use spray and pray, where KeyWordSpy kind of brings spray and pray back and just pumping out 10,000 pages a month or 1,000 pages a month, seeing where they rank and then improving from there, or go super surgical like Babe Ruth, pick a spot. Like I'm going to go for page 1 right away with our tool. Our pages have literally indexed in page 1 immediately on indexation if you know how to use KeyWordSpy correctly. For example, let me prove that to you. So this is actually a behind the scenes snapshot of the actual Discord we use in SEO University. This is our wins channel, which has tons of wins that goes back since 2017 when we started the group. And here's Renee, one of our advanced students, says, first time I used Greg's tool, which is KeyWordSpy, for a new client page, keyword beginning with affiliate marketing in the Netherlands, the equivalent of starting with affiliate marketing, enters into position 10. Right off the bat, here he is, right in position 10 when he started, because he used KeyWordSpy for the keywords. So we thoroughly believe in this tool. We use this tool. We mean what we say when we're using this tool. We mean what we say when we talk about how good this tool is and how we've tested it behind the scenes, and it does an excellent job you can possibly get right into page 1 if you use it correctly when you start. Okay, so let's use this as a test keyword. I'll choose China because I want to prioritize some more of the more on-page related AIs and test those and generate keywords for those, as opposed to the more location-created ones. Although it will test for all of them either way. It just depends on what data you give it. I'll use top 100 results and I say submit search. All right away, it's going to start doing testing behind the scenes. So the way KeyWordSpy works is it's going to take your information and it's going to do in-depth analysis like you had your own SEO consultant. But the SEO consultant you have is an AI, and it's way smarter than a human being, and it can see way more data and process way more data than a human being. This is the next generation AI tool you've been waiting for. So to get all of that analysis, some of the tests are going to be done right away. Like the RankBrain test, which I'll go over in a second, is done right away. The Bert test is done right away, and you can start using it to do the query intent finder and find different things. Neural matching, however, will actually be processed behind the scenes and can take anywhere from 5 to 10 to 20 to 40 minutes to process it behind the scenes. This is how you know it's doing actual work for you behind the scenes, and it's not just making it up as it goes. It's actually testing your competitors in our super secret way on Underground SEO University. We've found to reverse engineer neural matching and use the actual neural network to process the real true keywords that Google is using here. It also does the same thing for your winning image entities. It will process your related entities right away, but it actually will process your actual image entities here behind the scenes. The same thing with DOM vector. This will take some time after it's being processed. And finally, all this information after it's processed is going to funnel into the results screen. So the results screen is usable right away. It's going to give you the BERT winning entities, which are phrases. Neural matching and RankBrain winning entities are words. Okay, so that's just a little bit of a secret we can tell you from our reverse engineering in Underground SEO University. So we do the BERT testing right away for you and get that for you right away. And we do one BERT test right away for you as well. And you can start working on them right away. I could go to the content editor right now. I can click this button, go to the content editor, and start looking at the content edit entities here. And I have a score already, and I can start using these words and these phrases in my document. So if you wanted to go super fast, you can do that. But if you want to go surgical, and if you want the absolute best keywords that are possible, you're going to want to wait for these tests to be done. The neural matching RankBrain test 2 that we process, which is super cool, super secret. No one knows about this. Only we know about this, and only we test it. We're going to extract, we're going to test these entities even more and give you a deeper score to be even more sure you should be using them. And the final neural matching RankBrain test 3, which is our crown jewel, which is the biggest feather in our cap for Underground SEO University, where we get to page 1 by indexing a single page right off the bat, no sandbox. Really comes from all of this, but it comes from largely test 3. Test 3 is, I'd say, 55% of it. The rest is 45%, this stuff here, and all the rest of the stuff counted here. And that test also has to work and process. The AI has to churn tons and tons and tons and tons of data. Hundreds of pages, thousands and thousands and thousands of words. The AI has to actually go through and make a neural network and process all these things the way Google kind of does it. So to get you the most accurate scoring, and then we tally up all these scores at the end. So you might be like, okay, Josh, well, what do I do? Well, then when you come to KeyWordSpy, you'd start at the dashboard. You go to KeyWordSpy, you enter in the one you want to work on, and then what I would do right away is go have a beer. Go have a beer, go have some steak and eggs, whatever you want to do. Steak and eggs. Go have an Eggs Benny, whatever it is you want to do. And wait for it to email you. I don't know if you noticed, but it said it's going to email you when the process is done. And you can check up on it. When you go to reports, you can see where it is in the process of all the analysis it needs to do. Look at all of the analysis it's doing behind the scenes for you here. It did scraping. The scraping is complete. Initiated a SERP analysis. The SERP analysis is complete. Initiated an NLP analysis. An NLP analysis is completed. We don't use NLP in the background here to tell you what keywords to use. We use NLP to restrict the keywords and to scrape out the ones that are not useful, that are going to be over-optimized or not going to help you in ways. So we're not using NLP to give you suggestions or guesses of what keywords to use like all the other tools are doing. I'm so proud of this. It's so awesome. We're using NLP to rip out keywords that are clearly not useful. Then we're going to do an NLP analysis. Then we're going to initiate the winning entities. Then we're going to do the DOM vector initiated. We're going to complete that test. We're going to do a vector analysis of it, and we're going to complete the vector analysis. We're going to tell you what HTML to use. We're going to tell you what headings to use with bold tag, emphasize tag, I tag, all of that on actual testing of how it works. It's a little early days. It's a lot of information. We're going to sort the information better, but you're going to see the huge breadth of information we're going to give you here. It's super cool. You're really going to love it. Then we're going to start the text analysis. We're going to start that, complete it, and then we're going to do the image analysis. We're going to start, complete. We're going to do a further analysis on it. We're going to do image testing. We're going to get all that data. We're going to do the analysis with our artificial intelligence, and we're going to complete it. We're not done yet. We're still going. Then we're going to do a words process, which is our neural matching testing to find the best synonyms or metonyms to use. If you go here again to the actual AIs that Google admits they're using, if you find the neural matching system here and read about what they do, we have built our AI systems along this to give you the actual system of how RankBrain works and how neural matching works with these together. It's a sophisticated retrieval engine that we have do model testing for in the way that they're actually doing it. And we understand how the queries relate to pages in the same way that Google does, so we can give you actual, real, actionable testing there. And this is actually what Google does. I'm not making this up. Google does this neural matching stuff. It's got neural networking involved. And that's what we actually reverse and do. So no other tool does this. So it'll tell you where it is in the process, and then when we finish all that, we give you the actual keywords and entities that you should be mentioning on page, and you should go this far, no further, as Picard says in the movie. And you should be using these entities, but if you don't go too far for over-optimization on one end, or too far for keyword cannibalization and starting intruding on other pages in your topical cluster on other ends. We give you the exact right keywords this far, no further. For RankBrain, for all the different AI systems that can give you points in scoring your page to rank higher. In RankBrain, BERT, neural matching, the image entity, the DOM vector, and in also the helpful content and the product review as well. We do that in AI Spy. So once you go to KeyWordSpy, you put in your keyword. Go either have a beer, rest, and let it do all that processing it's going to do in the back end, because it's going to take a while for it to be done, all this processing. And it is worth the wait. You might be like, but Josh, other tools give this to us right away. My answer is, no, they don't. No, they don't. Not even close. They don't give you anything close to this information. McDonald's gives you food right away, but if you ate it every day of your life, do you think you'd be healthy? So I don't know, maybe people will hate that example, but we are giving you the actual vitamins and nutrients your page needs to survive in the Google system. And we're doing it super, super fast. If you had an SEO consultant doing this, it would take them days. Actually, no SEO consultant could do it because you need an AI to do it. No SEO consultant could provide you this information that we provide. It's worth the wait. Trust me, when you see the information that's going to come out of this, it's definitely worth the wait. But we also want to accommodate those people who do spray and pray and want to move fast. So we do the RankBrain test right away, and we do give you results right away. And we do give you a scoring based on the BERT entities here, the phrase entities for BERT, and the single word entities for RankBrain and for neural matching. You can start building your page right away if you want to. What I would do after you go to KeyWordSpy and you put your keywords in there, what I would do in terms of a process is I would go over to AI Spy and I would start using this part, okay? So here is the section for AI Spy and how you would use it. And as I said, I would use AI Spy while I'm waiting for all of my RankBrain testing, my BERT testing, and my neural matching testing, the actual AIs Google uses. While I'm waiting for that to be done, I would come over here to AI Spy and I would start generating content for a content brief is what I would do. So let's do it over the shoulder. Let me show you here. I'd go to Word. I'd say, okay, I'm doing CBD oil for cats. That's the keyword I put in there, but just to make sure that it's done and I don't have to wait this time for that, I'm going to do a different keyword that I had going here already. I'm going to do how to advertise on Pinterest is what I'm going to do. Is what I'm going to do for you because it's already done. This could take a while. I don't want to wait for it to be done. So I'm going to do this one, which is already done, and I know that the data is good. I know that's already finished. And so that's the one I'm going to do for you, but the process is the same. I would go to KeyWordSpy, put in the keyword, and then I would go to AI Spy right away. And I would put in the exact match query. Let's say it's how to advertise on Pinterest is what we're going to focus on today. And I would start generating the actual helpful content I'm supposed to be using and the product review content I'm supposed to be using. So check out how cool this is. And I can close this. So look how cool this is. So it's actually going to give you usable suggestions on how to make sure your content is helpful and how to make sure your content is giving you all the best kind of expert knowledge and showing what the product is like and whatnot for the product review stuff. So it's very simple. What I would do for this kind of query, which is not a product, I would use all of the helpful content if you want to use up your AI credits, if you want maximal help here. And if you're not a subject matter expert, you might want to make sure that you're using all of this here so the AI can tell you how you should be writing this page. Quite often as SEOs, we have to write pages that we know nothing about. We're not subject matter experts. So to be clear, I would highly recommend to be maximally helpful and to rank the best. And yes, these are actual ranking factors. So if you've ever doubted this is a ranking factor, it is. Google is using it as a ranking factor. It's probably the T5 transformer that they have, which can take in 10,000 tokens, which is anywhere from 3,000 to 5,000 words. I would actually and scans the whole page to see if it's helpful and to see if it gives product information. These are actual ranking factors. So I guarantee to you, you want to make sure you're as helpful as possible to rank. And that is what you would do for EAT, for expertise, for authority, and for trust. Remember that important acronym of theirs. That's what I would actually use for that, is the helpful content. So I guarantee you definitely want to use this. So if you don't have a subject matter expert who knows how to advertise on Pinterest and you'll be relying upon them for the knowledge, or if you want to check what they know against the corpus of what Google has on your competitors are talking about and what they should be talking about in terms of helpful content, all the way to the other end of the spectrum where I'm an SEO, I know nothing about how to advertise on Pinterest, but I have to write a page on it. I'll let the AI do it, and the AI system, our AI system, will do a damn good job in generating AI content for you. If that is the case, I would click every single button here. And yes, I'm going to spend a little bit more on AI credits, but you're going to get a much better article out of it after the fact. Okay, not only that, but I would look into using some of the product review AI stuff. And you might be like, well, Josh, hold on. Why do I want to do the product review stuff when I'm not reviewing products? Well, first off, if you're reviewing products, you definitely want to use the product review thing. I would use, again, whether or not you have a subject matter expert, it's up to you and how many AI credits you want to use. Subject matter expert, reduced credits, don't use. Don't have a subject matter expert, need to use the credits to get ideas as to what I should be saying here, then use the system. But even if it's not a product-based system, some of the information that this stuff gives you is super useful. So this is my pro tip. Even if you don't have a product here in the EMQ and you're not reviewing a product per se, Google doesn't know that. The Google transformer that they use for the product review, anything could be a product. Pinterest is a product, right? And we're talking about the advertising section on Pinterest is a product. It can be construed as a product. And so the product review AI is still going to give you very good information that could really improve your article and one, make users love it that much more, and two, could possibly allow the transformer to give you more scoring points. And Underground SEO University, we know that each of these AIs that Google has admitted here they're using is a cumulative system. Google has leaked this information, that all these AIs are a cumulative system. The freshness system gives you a few points. The exact match domain system gives you a few points. The BERT system gives you a few points. And the more points you add together from the different AIs means your page goes up in ranking. So it only makes sense for you to also try to squeeze a few points out of the product review AI. That is a transformer that is going to read the text just like ChatGPT does, and it's going to determine like a classifier, which is a standard job for a transformer to do. It's a standard classifier. It's going to classify whether your content is helpful based on these suggestions that it's been prompted to do, or if you've given good product reviews based on its content of the prompt it's been given, which are like these that Google has given us. This is from the actual Google pages, right? Express expert knowledge where appropriate. This is actually from Google's systems. This comes from Search Engine Land. This is exactly what it is you're supposed to be doing, what they tell you to actually do. This is their actual advice that we've used to train our AI systems, so you know we're giving you the exact information without any, on autopilot. Completely on autopilot, you can take the actual systems that Google is using here, the suggestions that they say of what you're supposed to do, and our AI will just tell it to you. It's a no-brainer on autopilot. I would suggest you use it. So as I said, we're already expressing firsthand expertise. That's kind of like expert knowledge. I wouldn't double up on those. That'd be a waste of credits. But what I would do, even on non-product EMQs, is I really like the pros and cons. Users really like pros and cons. And so I would use that there. And I would also identify the key decision-making factors for the products category. And I would let the AI explain to me how the product performs in those areas, because that can give really good information, which is a lot different than this information here. So I would choose this one and this one, even for a non-product based EMQ, and I would choose these ones here, and then I will click submit and see what happens. And again, remember, I'm doing this while the AI is doing all the other testing it needs to do to give me the actual neural networking keywords and to give me the actual BERT keywords and the RankBrain keywords to doing our secret behind the scenes testing that no other tool does. It has to crunch a lot of data there. And it's using an AI to crunch all that data, and 5 or 6 AIs to look at it this way, look at it that way, crunch it all together. It is a next generation intelligence system. So while you're waiting for that, might as well produce your content brief and get the product review AI stuff and get the helpful content review stuff. Now it's going to run a lot of prompts here. It's going to run 4 on the top, 6 on the bottom here, so it'll take longer. As I said, it's early days. You got to wait a little bit for this to get processed, but all good things come to those who wait. The more data it's processing, the more intelligence there will be in your suggestions. So that's really great. So fantastic. So here we go with the results. It did all of it, and it gave me the results. So here's the first-hand experience and a depth of knowledge. And look at what it said. So I put in how to advertise on Pinterest, and look how it demonstrated first-hand expertise and a depth of knowledge. It said, remember, the topic is how to advertise on Pinterest. It said, you should create visually appealing images that will draw attention to your product or service. That's really good. You should utilize keywords in the description of each pin to help users find you more easily. That's a really good suggestion too. It says use hashtags and boards to categorize pins and make them easier for people to find. That's fantastic. Take advantage of promoted pins, which allow you to pay for increased visibility on Pinterest. These are golden suggestions of demonstrating firsthand expertise that you don't even need to have. The AI has it, and now it's telling you or giving you big hints as to what you should be saying, or you can just use this AI content and index it. We do it all the time, and index is fine. And we have other ways to rewrite it that we're going to show you in the content editor that are next generation rewriting that no other tool can actually detect right now. We have AI generation capabilities in the content editor that I will do in another tutorial that actually no system can detect at the moment. Anyhow, so it goes through and gives me the actual ways of demonstrating first-hand expertise. So I can copy that to the clipboard, but you know what? I can even drill down on this information. I can get better AI suggestions for this. And I like to either tell me more about this or tell me more about, and then you whichever concept you want to drill down on, or explain how, and then it's blank, whatever concept in here you saw you think needs more explaining. Or you could say what more interesting tips and info and helpful comments say on this. I like to do what do lay people say about this topic as compared to what the experts say. So I'm going to click this and submit it. You might be like, Josh, why are you doing that? Because at the end of the day, we want to show our expertise. Expertise is the important thing to show and eat of experience, expertise, authority, and trust, which is things that they directly track in these different AIs that they use. So then it says, lay people say that advertising on Pinterest is a great way to reach potential customers and increase brand awareness. They suggest creating visually appealing images, utilizing keywords in the description of each pin, using hashtags and boards to categorize pins, taking advantage of promoted pins, monitoring analytics regularly, leveraging influencers who have a large following on Pinterest, and experimenting with different types of content such as videos or GIFs. So it's giving us more information about how people use this stuff and what you should be actually using for your suggestions. So we'll copy that to the clipboard and we'll put it here in our content brief. This is how to advertise on Pinterest. Is what we're doing. And I would paste that here, and then I will take this one here, copy to clipboard, and I will paste that here as well. And you know what I like to do for my writer? I like to remind them, if you're going to give this to a writer, or at least for myself, I like to remind me of what Google's actually looking for here. And I will paste that in here. And I like how it's a different font when it pastes in, because that reminds me that you're not supposed to actually say this in your article anywhere. You're supposed to be doing this in your article. So it reminds you to demonstrate first-hand expertise and a depth of knowledge, which is actually fantastic to do. Another thing I could do here is say, hey, what more interesting tips and info and helpful comments on this can you say? I'm going to do this one as well. And I could just keep drilling down and letting the AI tell me and guide me, because the AI is the subject matter expert in this, and it's going to guide me as to what should be doing. Okay, and so this is the output of telling me more interesting tips. The more interesting tips, info, and helpful comments on this, I'll copy that to the clipboard as well. So now I've got a lot of robust information here. The article is already starting to be written. And I'm going to say experts say, because I want that to be more expertise driven. And it didn't give me a difference. So I know that this is actually what the experts are talking about. So that's fantastic. Okay, so I would go through all this information here. I would drill down, get a little bit more information is what I would do. So I'm just going to copy these to the clipboard here. Okay, so now we're gotten down. I've copied all the other suggestions from the helpful content and put them in here in my content brief that I'm starting. Oh, and always make sure you save. Now I've gotten down to the pros and cons in AI Spy, and it's super awesome. Look at the pros and cons it gives me for whether you should advertise in Pinterest. It says, Pinterest is a great platform for visual advertising, allowing you to create eye-catching visuals. You can target specific audiences. Ads on Pinterest are relatively inexpensive, and the analytics tools available on Pinterest make it easy. But also, to show you're an expert, you have to show how there's some downsides to it, and you're being honest with the user on your page. And I think Google likes this, and our testing has shown that this kind of content is what you're going to get you a boost out of the product review transformer, whether you have a product or not. And so it actually gives the cons too as to advertising on Pinterest, and I think they're fair. It says it can be difficult to stand out from the competition. There's no guarantee your ad will reach its intended audience. Ads may not appear in search results if they don't meet certain criteria. And finally, it can take some time and effort to learn how to use various features. Those are great expert recommendations. So I'm going to copy this to the clipboard and I'm going to put it in my content brief so that my writer or whoever is writing this, whether I'm writing this with the content editor or my writer is writing this with the content editor or not, will know that these are important things to keep in mind. And finally, identify key decision-making factors for the product's category. I think these are really important. Target audience, who's your target audience? Budget, how much money can you afford to spend? Ad format, what type of ad format should you use? Timing, when should your ads be displayed? Measurement and optimization. So these again are really great information of what you should be including in the these are going to be final tips. What you should be including in the page, okay? So I've already generated a whole bunch of content. I can drill down on these, I can spend more time here, and I've got that information involved in what we want. So that's basically how AI Spy works. You put it in your content brief, and you can also plug this directly into the content editor. I like to do it separately here so I can work on it a little bit more. It's kind of a pro tip. You get the drill down in the AI Spy. When you work on AI Spy here, you get the drill down. The content editor allows you to generate this content, but right now it doesn't have the drill down based involved. Because the content editor is a little bit more quick and dirty of how to do it. I like to go to AI Spy and do it like this. Okay, so what do you do next? All right, so now we can go back to reports by clicking this little guy here and go to reports, and it'll give us the reports. And you see the query that I started is already down to the words testing. It's almost done. It's complete testing. What I'm going to do just to move forward quickly, because sometimes this can take a little bit of time, I'm going to work on the same keyword that we started here for my demo purposes. But as you can see, this one's already almost done and it only started 27 minutes ago. It just has this last neural matching, neural networking test to do. But let's keep going here on my one keyword I was using here, how to advertise on Pinterest. So once it emails you and says that your report is done, you would click on it and it would take you automatically to reports. And you know it's done by when you go to results, you see that there's a different score here in all these different sections. None of them say processing. That's how you know this is done. In the DOM vector, it doesn't say it's processing, so that means it's done. In image entity, it gives you the results, so you know that's all done. In neural matching, it's all processed and it is all done. And I will go through all of these and explain what all of these mean. So if you're going super fast, what you would do is you just go here to results. In results here, you can see that we already have the testing is all complete. And it's scoring up all these different tests. It scores up the Bert test, the neural matching RankBrain test 2, which is a different kind of test. And the neural matching RankBrain test 3 is more neural matching based than RankBrain. As you saw on Google's page here for neural matching, RankBrain and neural matching work together. So we test them together. But this one focuses more on RankBrain. This one focuses more on neural matching. And you see we have a weighted score for them because we know neural matching, this test is more important for various entities, for the word-based entities. These are the score for the BERT-based phrase entities that you might want to be using, which could also be important for the helpful content, which is a transformer. So it's going to use phrase-based entities as well, which could also be used for the product review transformer, which is going to use phrase-based entities as well. So create pins might be good to mention, not in naming spots. I'll show you what you do in the naming spots in a second. That would be good to use maybe in the body. Target audience could be good in the body. Optimize campaigns, leverage hashtags. They don't have as high a score. The only ones that we really score and suggest is create pins and target audience. For how to advertise on Pinterest, those are not half bad suggestions, right? But if you want to go fast, you don't have to worry about the drill down for RankBrain testing and advanced testing that it does, or BERT, the advanced testing we can do in BERT, or neural matching, or the image entity stuff, or DOM vector stuff. If you just want to go fast, you come down here, you say, okay, good, this is done, great. And then you would just go to the content editor. And all that information is being pulled in to the content editor. And under content and under entities, you can see this is already here. All of the EMQ is also separated out. All of the BERT entities are separated out, and then all of the single word neural matching and RankBrain entities are pulled out with all their scoring. You can use the phrases, or you can use just the words. And it'll start telling you what pages, what information you should be putting into your page here. And I'll show you how to go fast on that when I get to the content editor. But if you want to drill down, if you're doing more surgical SEO, let me show you some of the advanced tools that KeyWordSpy has to drill down on the RankBrain AI, the BERT AI, neural matching, image entity, and DOM vector, so that you can get the absolute best ranking factors out of all the breadth of testing that we're doing here. Okay, so let's narrow down on RankBrain, the RankBrain testing. RankBrain does testing of the SERPs, and we analyze the actual search engine results pages, your competitors, and we take a look at the information on kind of similar ways that people look at these things in terms of the bigram, trigram, and quadrams. Bigrams are two-word phrases, trigram, three-word phrases, quadgram, four-word phrases. And there's a lot of great information buried in here. And we've analyzed all the different sections that you have to care about for the page, the URL, the title and snippet, and the meta description. Now you might be like, hold on, isn't the meta description the title snippet? No. The title snippet that Google uses is what we use here in title snippet. The separate meta description, the value of the meta description tag, is what we use for meta description. And there's very interesting testing you can do that are different on both of those that are important. And then the single words for RankBrain are put down here, and we're giving you very important information on each of these ones to analyze. So let's dig in and see how you can get the most out of this RankBrain testing. So I just hit Control Home to move up automatically, don't have to scroll. So as you can see, the analysis was performed on 400 words for the top 10 and around 4,000 words for the top 100 results. So the first thing we need to analyze here for our content brief is we have to choose what we're going to name the page and the URL. So we're going to click on URLs here, and these are the extracted entities that are just in the URL string of the competitors. Now, what is the URL string? This is the URL string, and keywords can go in these places. For example, I could be like, how to on Pinterest.com, and this could be how to advertise. And that might be, a URL that could be related to my how to advertise on Pinterest keyword I'm looking into. But just so you know what the URL string, it's the entirety of the URL. This is usually called the slug in WordPress, or it's just the directory name or a file name. This is the domain name, this is the prefix, and this is the domain name suffix. So what the URLs analyzes is all of the URL string here. And it's going to check what RankBrain boosting points we're going to get out of this. in terms of putting keywords into your URL string and how far you should go and how far you shouldn't. And so the analysis here is very interesting. Here's some key points you should look at that pros would look at and people doing a surgical SEO who want to get the most out of it. Here's some things that you would look at to make sure that you're getting the right URL for your content brief. First off, notice big drops. So the absolute frequency in the top 100 has how to advertise on and to advertise on Pinterest. Do you see how this phrase, how to advertise on Pinterest, is being used a lot? It has 10 versus 3. There's a 70% difference between step-by-step guides and how to use Pinterest. This immediately, when I take a look at this, starts telling me that staying along the EMQ is probably a better idea than saying you have a step-by-step guide or how to use Pinterest. There's a step-by-step this, Pinterest this. Also here you notice advertise on Pinterest, how to advertise on, is much more 14 compared to 7. It's 100% difference between 7 and 14 to say you have a blog on Pinterest ads or a blog on Pinterest advertising. Or here we have step-by-step again and by-step guide. So that starts giving you good information to be like, starting to see the secret patterns of keywords that Google might want to see in terms of RankBrain in the URL. But what about the words? So when we click on words and we go down here, you notice that we're giving you the absolute frequency of the top 10 and top 100. But what you really want to look at here is the relative frequency. You want to look at the relative frequency of the top 10 versus the relative frequency of the top 100. And again, you want to look for big jumps. This is what's telling the whole story here. And the whole story is a little different when you look at the individual words of what's going into your competitors' URL strings. That's going to give you some indication of what you would want to be using in your URL string, whether it's safe or not, whether you'll be over-optimized to use keywords in your URL string or not, or if you should go with more different synonyms or AI keywords. To say the same thing another way, in SEO University, we break down keywords into 3 categories: the EMQ, the PMQ, and AI keywords. The EMQ is the exact match query. So for example, that would be how to advertise on Pinterest. The exact match query would be how to advertise on Pinterest. The partial match query would be any of these words used in any combination, such as how, or how to advertise on or Pinterest. All these words are partially matching the exact match query. And you could use any of these words in any combination, unless you use them all, and then it would be exact match query. Exact match query, since the dawn of SEO, has always been the most powerful. Partial match query has also been always been the second most powerful. And last, that stands for partial match query. Last but not least are the AI keywords. These are the secret keywords that KeyWordSpy analyzes for you. And so you need to know in your URL, in your meta description, in your H1, in your H2 to 6, if you use them, in a bold tag, in a strong tag, in an I tag, in an EM tag, in a table, etc. You need to know if you're allowed to use EMQ, PMQ, or AI keywords in all these different areas, and KeyWordSpy gives you the capability of testing all these areas and figuring out what you should be using in all these different areas based on what each of these different AIs is looking for in those different areas. I know, it gets complicated, but KeyWordSpy uncomplicates it for you quite a bit, but let me go over that again. So you know, there are over-optimization penalties that Google does not tell you that we found out. You need to know where you could put your keywords and how strong of keywords you can do, EMQ, PMQ, or AI keywords. And you need to know if they can go in the URL, the meta description, the H1, H2 to H6, a bold tag, strong tag, I tag, EM tag, table tag, etc. All tags. They machine learn this whole thing. Spam brain is all machine learned. And they found the ratio of keywords being used by everybody, and anyone who goes over a certain ratio, which in our testing is 10%, anyone who goes over a certain ratio of over-optimization gets demoted. This is why you need to use KeyWordSpy, because it's going to tell you things that you need to do that you didn't even know you needed to do, right? So KeyWordSpy is going to tell you, and when we start determining what we think we want for the URL, because remember, I'm checking the URL here. I'm still looking at the URL tab under RankBrain testing. We're going to try to start determining what words should be going in our URL string, but we don't want to go over optimization. So you might be like, well, Josh, I always just put the exact match query in my URL. And my answer would be, okay, that's great. In some niches, you are demoting yourself. You gave yourself a penalty that's too rich. And that's why the SEO industry is always up in arms like, yes, it's safe to do. No, it's not. I do it all the time. I never do it. I've done it and gotten boosts. I've done it and gotten demotions. Why? Because the machine learned patterns for SpamBrain are different per niche. And that's why this tool is so useful, because it uses an AI to analyze that and it'll tell you the ratios you need to use. That's what we're doing right now to choose the URL string for the rank, and it's different per AI. The helpful content wants to see the EMQ, but for Bert, that's too much. But for neural matching, it's good enough. But for DOM vector, it's too much, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's how Google decides to beat all the SEOs, is they make it really complicated. Well, we've uncomplicated it here for you, or we're starting to uncomplicate it, and we're going to strive to make it even better for you and easier for you to use moving forward. So as I mentioned before in the intro of my tutorial, we are limiting the amount of people who can use this, so this information is going to remain accurate, and this information is going to remain usable and actionable for SEO pros, who are the ones who decided to sign up for KeyWordSpy. Okay, so then when I look at the words here, the drop-offs and the main boosts between the 100 competitors and what boosted them on page 1 is really where there's smoke, there's fire. So we want to look at where this is really low, but this gets higher. This is really low, or this gets higher. This was super low, and that shot up to 40% here. So that actually starts telling a very different story as to the kind of keywords you might want to use in the URL when we start generating a more in-depth SEO analysis of how we want to do this. So we want to sort it by the differences here. So in the future, you'll also have a button to sort it by the difference. Right now, I need to pop into Excel to find out which words are better. So let's just show you how you do that quickly. You go into Excel or any other spreadsheet program you want. You'd paste this in here. You just say, show me just the data. And then what I would do here is I would say, this is the score. This is the jump. You want to show me, I want to show the jump. So then I'd highlight all this, Control T, I'd make a floating table. Let's delete all of these. And then what I'm going to do, we actually don't even need to see these ones here. And then I'm going to shorten this one here, and then shorten this one here, just so I can get more on the screen. There we go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, show me the difference between this, the top 10, and the top 100. Then I say, show me the largest. And now it shows me the words that have the biggest jump. They're tiny here and the bigger jump here to being on the top 10. Remember, this is the top 10 usage here. This is the top 100 usage here. It's used 5% of the time in the top 100, but it's used 40% of the time in the top 10 in the URLs. These are just the URL words. So this is telling me that there's a bigger chance that these words should be used in the URL. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab these guys here. And these ones here are, I don't want to say blog in my page because I don't want to confuse Google that I say that I'm a blog. Blogs are sometimes low quality. I just don't like to use it. So I'm gonna grab these ones here. I'm not going to use Shopify or advertise like that. Well, this is a 9% difference. I could choose advertise. So I'm going to take step A, ads business small buy. And then in the future as well, like I said, this early days, so we don't have all the features here yet. In the early days, it's going to just use this to start suggesting URLs you might want to use. Now I'm going to go over here to ChatGPT, and I'm going to get ChatGPT to automatically generate possible titles, URLs for me. Please generate the URL slug for a how to advertise on Pinterest page using seed words or hint words. And I'm going to say the hint words are going to be these ones. Hint words URL slug suggestions. Example like this, please. Okay. And then I say go. And so using these words, it says, okay, well, here's the URL you could generate, how to advertise on Pinterest, a step-by-step guide for small business ads. So it's got the EMQ in it. We might not want to do that. It's a little long. Please give me more suggestions. Keep it short. Keep in mind clickability and enticing the user to click while keeping the content on topic. So, Pinterest ads for small business, a step-by-step guide. Advertise on Pinterest, a practical guide for small business owners. Effective Pinterest advertising for small business, a how-to. Get started with Pinterest ads for your small business. So it starts generating for you a ton of slug ideas of how you could possibly write your content. So you could take those suggestions. You can be like, okay, these are great. I'm going to go to my content brief I was generating here. And I'm going to say, okay, URL. I'm going to say RB test words from jump. And then this is the T10 better words. Now, that's assuming your competitors have the better words, of course. But I'm going to put that here. Step A, ads, business, small buy. Make phrases out of these words. The related topic is how to advertise on Pinterest. Phrases. Short phrases. You could do that too to keep it short. And it also will generate you a bunch of phrases on these as well. So step by step, set up Pinterest ads step by step. You could try that as well. You might not want to limit it to small business because that'll be a little too directly related to small business, unless the rest of KeyWordSpy tells you that's all Pinterest ads are about. So I'm going to get rid of the word small, and I'd say, okay, well, from the RankBrain test, a good example would be step by step how to set up Pinterest ads. So we've got the how to, we've got step by step how to set up Pinterest ads. So we got ads and step and buy, and we've got the how to from the EMQ, but we didn't go too specific in the EMQ because we don't know yet if we're allowed to do that in the EMQ. We can find that out somewhere else. By the indication of what we're looking at here, it looks to me like Pinterest is there, but blog is a big jump up, which I avoided. Ads is not advertise. Advertise jumps up a little bit. It doesn't look like it's safe right now to do that. I can also look at the competitor analysis to find that out later when I go over the competitor analysis. So right now I've got the beginnings of a URL based on the RankBrain test. And this is kind of like the winner for now. And when I do more analysis in the tool, I'm going to narrow down on this URL if that's good enough to go with. Okay, so that's the RankBrain URL tab. Now let's start going in our content brief here for what the title should be. So what does the title recommend? So this will start analyzing the title snippet. And again, we can look at big jumps. We can see how to use Pinterest as really low, but unsurprisingly, how to advertise on Pinterest is really big. So it looks like the EMQ is good to use here, how to advertise on Pinterest in the title. So how to advertise on Pinterest could be really good to use in the title here. If I go down to the words, again, the big jump to, your has a big jump. Your and how and step. Again, they like the step by step. So it could be how to advertise on Pinterest, your step step-by-step guide. We could do that. Where does the word, now if you want to see how well guide does, you could just scroll down and find it. It jumps up. So it looks like it could, RankBrain could like that in the title, your step-by-step guide. Other people are using it as well. It seems to jump up. It could have extra RankBrain boosts. I could also do Control-F guide and then find it here and look at this. Ultimately, we're going to want to analyze that title snippet against the final results. You're going to want to start generating it here, but finish it with the final results. And another thing I could do is I'm like, okay, well, wow, the word your down, and it shows up a lot. Down, where is it? Here, the word your really jumps up, and you might want to pay very close attention to it. If you do, just a pro tip, you can go to the results, and any of these words that you think are doing really well that you want to keep in mind beyond our secret scoring system of how we add up all the different tests. This is the RankBrain test we're looking at here for these scores. We could go and find the word your here and say, okay, well, this one did really well. So after you click up on your, it's going to pop up to the top, and you can see it comes out of order here. Even though the score is way less compared to other words, given the breadth of all the testing, we saw it in RankBrain. We thought, it worked pretty well. We'll go with it, and we'll keep it in mind by voting it up here. And you can vote it down by double-clicking this, and it'll get voted down either to its place where it was in the list and around the 8s and score 8, or you can click it down again and put it right to the bottom if you never want to see that word again. You don't want to use it for whatever reason. Like there was the word blog here. I never want to use that because I don't want Google to think I'm a blog. So I put it down here. Also the word guide, I didn't want to use step or you in previous times I was looking at this. And again, you can use your own SEO senses as to whether you want to use that or not. It's not appropriate for you. There's all kind of reasons why you may or may not want to use these words. Okay, so let's go back to RankBrain here. So we did the URL, we did the title snippet. Now let's do the meta description. So the meta description tests the actual words in the meta description, and it gives it a total score of how often these words are used. And also gives you the relative frequency of using it in the top 10 and how often it showed up in the top 100. And again, it's the same deal here. You want to look at these words like your, and, how, for, definitely not in. Look, it's not used in the top 10 at all, even though it's in the top 100. Not the either. So what you can do here is, again, there's going to be a way to score this at a point later. The other makers of the tool didn't realize how in-depth I would get in using this. But let me go back quickly here to Excel, paste that in. This is the meta. And what we're going to do here is we're going to get rid of this. We don't need this. We're going to get rid of this. We don't need this. And of course, the system will generate this for you. I'll show you that in another place. And you would highlight this. Move this here. Okay, so then what we're going to do is we're going to say, take this and minus this, boom. And we want to see the jump of the top 10, which ones are used in the top 10. Sort the largest. Okay, so these are the words that get really bumped up from the top 10 here and have a big difference. So your advertising for your business, learn advertising for your business is the phrase I can see. Learn advertising for your business is what I see here used in the meta description. You can learn how to use Pinterest advertising for your business. Looks like that's what you would do here. But these words seem, in the RankBrain testing, seem to have a bit of an advantage, which is why you'd want to include that. So I'll take this, and again, if I looked at these and I was totally confused, I could go back to ChatGPT and ask it to write a description for me. You might be like, okay, Josh, that was great, but how do I generate these things without jumping out into ChatGPT or to get suggestions? Can the tool do this for you? Of course, you can go to here to naming spots. In AI Spy, you can generate them like this. You can also generate them in the content editor later on as well. I'll show you how to do that in the content editor tutorial. You could do the title tag like I said you did. Here you would put in the how to advertise on Pinterest. Here you would put in the keywords. that I used before. I'm just using the paste buffer to put in the keywords I used before. The winning words I had for that, and it would generate for you the potential title tag, how to advertise on Pinterest, learn how to advertise your business on Pinterest today. Results, you can also do the same thing for the meta description. As you can see, you get something different. Learn how to advertise your business on Pinterest today is what it generates for you for a meta description. So whether you like a longer one, you can use ChatGPT for that, or you like the shorter one, there are ways of doing it here in the tool. And this will be based on the best AI system we have access to. If that's ChatGPT in the future, we can do that. You can also add in more words here. If you're like, I want this to be longer, then you would add how to advertise on Pinterest in here too. Like, if just add more seed words and it'll make a longer meta description for you. And you can see, learn how to advertise your business on Pinterest now. Oh, okay, well, it really thinks, our system really thinks this is the best meta description. This is the topic that people want. This is the query intent. These are really good suggestions of the system to help you get the best meta description. ChatGPT gave you a longer one. It doesn't necessarily mean it's better, but it definitely is probably more what people are looking for in terms of a meta description. Some people. There's reasons in SEO University why we like to keep our meta description short, but I'm going to leave those secrets in SEO University. So you can choose either one you like, and you can also generate the H1 for you. Okay, so now let's look at BERT and see all the different kind of BERT testing that we do. Let's go to reports, pick the EMQ you want to work on, go to report again, and then click on BERT. As I mentioned, BERT is their bidirectional encoder representations from transformer. Transformer is like a GPT is a transformer as well. ChatGPT, GPT-3, GPT 3.5, GPT-4. They're all transformers. They all are natural language processors that understand language in larger forms. So here we have, again, the same phrases that your competitors are using. That's going to help you understand both RankBrain as it works for concepts, but also BERT as it works for concepts. Another important thing for BERT that we do here in KeyWordSpy for testing is the query intent finder. Typically for the BERT transformer, to get more points out of it to get scored higher. Also, that's going to help you stay on topic. That's going to help your CRO. It's going to help your conversions. It's going to help your sales. So it's really handy, really useful, and important to use. Now, typically you would probably put the content that comes out of this in terms of the query intent in an H1, but it doesn't have to go in an H1. It's also partially educational, but then the H1 could also come from this as well. So also, as I showed before, you don't have to paste in words in here or make up words. You can just add the winning words that comes from results here. These are the highest scored words for all of the different AIs, and say submit, and it will generate your query intent. So it's not too bad, right? The query intent finder on how to advertise on Pinterest is someone looking how to advertise on Pinterest. So it's really good for that. Tips for advertising on Pinterest, learn how to create ads on Pinterest, the basics of advertising with Pinterest. So those are all great and rather perfect query intents that will keep the various transformers, including BERT, happy with that. So I'm going to copy this. I like this one because it has the most keywords. And remember, I'm going to come here and we're making the H1 in our content brief. And I am going to use the query intent here. So I'm going to do how to advertise on Pinterest, and then learn how to create ads on Pinterest. That might be a little too rich of a H1. And I like to use title case in my H1s and titles. Learn how to create ads on Pinterest. So that will be the H1 I go for right now, or kind of my thinking on it right now. And this idea will maybe get a little bit better as we go on. Again, if you want to go quick, you can just generate all these things and go quick. You don't have to think about it as long and as deeply as I am. Kind of wrestle with it and do surgical SEO. You don't have to do that. You can go fast if you want to, but I'm kind of trying to show you kind of do both ways. I'm going to show you kind of do it the long way, and then you can cut out any pieces you want and do it as fast as you feel is appropriate for your style of SEO. So that's where I got there. And the rest of this BERT information here is just the phrases. Again, how to advertise on Pinterest is a big jump from your competitors in terms of what Bert might be liking, what's going on here. Advertise on Pinterest is much better than guide or stepping. So again, and the query intent is more along the lines of exactly this. It's learn the basics, learn how. We don't need to add more step-by-step guides. We've got that here in the URL if we want to use that. We've got that in the title if we want to use that. And so these are the kinds of things here we might want to think about using. Another competitor for this title that we generated using the old methods, we can go back here to the content editor as well, click the title tag, add the winning words, and say submit. And this is going to get us another suggestion, how to advertise and promote your ads now. So that's just a little quick pro tip of how we can also generate, you can generate a title with this too if you want. So I'm going to add that in, that potential other suggestion of what I might want to go for. In both cases, we've got the EMQ, how to advertise on Pinterest and promote your ads now. That might be a better title. It uses higher scored words. So I'm going to think about using that as well. And go for the step-by-step how to set up Pinterest ads, maybe more in the URL, because we saw that those step-by-step words were in the URL in RankBrain. We saw that those step-by-step words got a pretty big jump from the 100 to 10. So that's why we're thinking of doing that there. So you can start to find out, like, there's different keywords, as you can see, for the URL analysis, for RankBrain. There's different keywords for the title based on rank. This one was the RankBrain suggestion. This is the Bert suggestion, and this would be the neural matching suggestion as well, because it's using the neural matching words. It depends on, like, you know, which AI do you want to serve here? Do you want to serve Bert more? Do you want to serve neural matching more? In our testing, Bert and neural matching is more for the title tag. RankBrain and neural matching are more for the URL. And like I said, I could have just went with this and said forget it and kept going, or I could have just went with this and said forget it and kept going. So just because I'm taking a long time to analyze these things to show people who want to do that how to do that, doesn't mean you have to do that. If you're like, Josh, I just want to press a button and go, I will show you. I've shown you ways you can just press a button and go in various steps and places. But also I'll show you in the next tutorial in the content editor how you would quickly just step in and go and don't even think about it. All right, so now let's move on to neural matching. Neural matching is a very exciting AI that Google definitely uses. You can see I have it listed here, doing query rewriting and ranking. It's an artificial intelligence that we know that Google uses from Underground SEO University. Also, Google has admitted they use it here in their own document, Guide to Google Search Ranking Systems, that they published some months ago. You see that neural matching is a system that they use here that they fully admit. So we're not making this up. They definitely use it, and it's very important in ranking, but no other tool lets you test it. So here's how we test it. We actually do neural networking and neural matching analysis on these keywords, and we start ranking them in tiers. Tier 1 is the best, Tier 2, Tier 3, Tier 4. We're picking out the metonyms. Now, what is a metonym? Well, a metonym, and I'll do a definition here for you. Metonymy is a figure of speech consisting the use of a name of one thing for that of another. So it's like a synonym, but it's a bit broader. So such as crown in lands belonging to the crown, or such as Washington as a metonym for the US government. That's what a metonym is. It's a bit of a broader replacement. So Tier 1 is the highest scored neural matching entities that you should be using. And it's usually the PMQs plus a few more. You can often find very interesting synonyms and metonyms that are just as powerful as the EMQ words. So that's interesting. So remember, we were trying to generate here AI keywords that, these are all going to be from Bert, it's going to be from RankBrain, it's going to be from neural matching, it's going to be from the helpful content, vision AI, and of course, I forgot the product content as well. And the knowledge graph as well are going to be very important there. So that's the AIs that we are, in a nutshell, where there's more AIs that we're analyzing, but those are the ones that are going to give you secret keywords that you're going to be wanting using. So we're looking at the neural matching keywords right now to use these AI keywords in various spots and keywords. I should have done it that way, actually. And so you know where you can use what words and how much you can use them. The neural matching words are very powerful. The tier 1 words here are very powerful. They almost always include the EMQ, the exact match query, and the partial match query, which is the various words of the EMQ. They're always single words as well for neural matching. And tier 2 is synonyms or metonyms of the tier 1. So for example, on advertise, we get advertisement, ads, advertising, or advertisements, or advertised, or publicize as well, which you may never have thought. Interestingly, on advertise, ad is a tier 3. You'd think that was more of a synonym and you might use it in your words more, but this actually is a better representation of the neural networking, of the matching, the grammatical matching of all those words. Then we get advertisers, publicize, promote, and now promote is a tier 4, and then even in a tier 5, even deeper, promoted, promoting, promotion, which is even more removed from advertise, right, for example. And if you want to show all the levels, we can go down to a number of tiers. Then offers off of promotions, paid off of promotion, and offer off of promotions. So you would never expect offer or paid to come off of these as synonyms, because they're not synonyms, but they are neural networked metonyms. And so no other tool gives you this tier view. In the future, like I said, this is early days. In the future, I want to have a tree so you know that, okay, how, and then you know the synonyms of how, the metonyms that break off of how, and then the metonyms that break off the metonyms of how, and the metonyms of metonyms. And I want to do this tree structure later on graphically, but it would take time to program to do that. Right now, we just have it listed in tiers like this. And these tiers are what gets scored in the final results. 10 is tier 1 and tier 2. 9 is tier 3. 8 is tier 4, and so on. And so you can see all these AIs are scoring your pages and have their own say as to how they should be scored, including helpful content and product content, which I've covered here, but are not covered in the results of the tool. They're covered in AI Spy. That's where you find the helpful content and the product review AI stuff there. So this is another pro tip of how you know the system has done its testing, and to get a sense of, okay, interesting, what words are more important for what AI. This is the RankBrain test of the phrases. This is the neural matching test and a RankBrain test of the top neural networked words and the top entity relationships between them. And this is correlating to neural matching, the tiers. Tier 1 and 2, I said, is 10 points because they're the most powerful. And then tier 2 is 9 points. Remember, ad showed up there, tier 9. It doesn't score as highly and not used as much in the Bert test here. So it gets a lower score here because it's not used as much in those tests. It doesn't show up as much, but it is used quite a lot here. So you get the total score, and it's the total score you want to go on. And this is our, I want to say patent pending. It's our patent, although we haven't filed the patent yet, but it is our patent pending. It is our secret sauce. It is our really special way of scoring these so that each AI that gets a cumulative score boosts you up. So that's how the results tab works. And that's how you know that you've done the neural matching testing and you've got the points in here from the various tiers as they show up. That's how you know you're getting the Bert words as we've tested them and the RankBrain words as we've tested them as well. And it's a little hard to separate these things out perfectly. And so there's kind of a blended test here with neural matching, RankBrain, neural matching, RankBrain. This is amalgamated them together. And this is neural matching and RankBrain final test, where we separate them out and do a lot more processing. That's why it takes a longer time. And as you recall, these phrases here are the Bert entities and the helpful content entities and the product entities. Basically, any AI that is a transformer, product review is a transformer, helpful content is a transformer. We know this from testing it in underground SEO University, and Bert is a transformer. They've admitted Bert's a transformer. They admit that right here when they talk about Bert. They say, yeah, it's our transformer. They know, they've admitted that. We know that for a fact. But we happen to know that helpful content and product review is a transformer because it has to be, right? There's no other AI that exists that would do this as well. So this is what's important there for also entity vectoring as well in determining the consensus of experts. If you've watched my other videos, you know what I'm talking about there. It's the new link. It's entity vectoring and the consensus of experts. These keywords here will help us with the consensus of experts. These entities here will help us with all their transformers. as we have reverse engineered them and reapply them and process them in a way much more honest and analogous to the way Google is using it. Not a guess, and not just using ChatGPT because it's hot. We use ChatGPT to generate things, but when it's analogous to what Google is doing, to give you a much better keywords. So you definitely want to make sure that you're using your tier 1 words the most, your tier 2 words the most. And you're like, Josh, the tier 1 words are just the EMQ. My answer is no. On many EMQs, when you test it, you'll notice that there's other words that float in there that are very important. So you definitely want to pay close attention to what words float in here and use them if they float in here. For example, in the CBD oil for my cat keyword that I started off with, remember I started off with CBD oil for my cat, and I used the China SERP. If I go to the report and we click on neural matching, you can see here CBD oil for my cat is indeed there, but also tier 1 synonyms or metonyms that are very powerful also includes the word or the initialism THC. So any of you people out there in the CBD niches or the marijuana niches, you know that CBD and THC are very highly related to each other, but they are not synonyms. And because people are looking for CBD oil for my cat, you might think, oh, I should never mention THC, or I would never mention THC, because they're looking for CBD, which is a different thing. THC and CBD are 2 different primary chemical ingredients in marijuana, and you use one for one purpose and you use one for the other purpose. If they're looking for CBD oil for my cat, they're not looking for THC, or they might want to know that it doesn't have any THC content infecting the CBD oil, because that's very important for this kind of medicine, right? So you might find it very interesting to know that that's not what neural matching thinks. Neural matching is not synonyms. It is metonyms as construed by the AI. And the only way for you to know it is to test it the way Google tests it. And so our testing shows that THC, our neural network that's based on Google, shows in our testing that tests exactly what Google is doing, shows that THC is also an equally important keyword to use here, and would have 10 more points in the results and give you a much better results and a much better keyword, an entity to be using and mentioning in your page that will make your page scored that much higher for CBD oil for my cat. It's important to mention THC. And then tier 2 also has oils. Now, petroleum is another interesting thing that you would never use, because oil is a synonym of oil. Petroleum is a synonym of oil, but you would never use it typically, and you might want to consider not using it because it's not really on the topic. But if you put it in your page, it's going to have a huge neural network boost from neural matching. It's going to take you off the topic for Bert and for RankBrain possibly. So you have to consider whether you want to use it or not. Some keywords that are good for one AI might not be great for other ones. So that's why we score them all together, so you get the completed score. So you're using only the best words that are good for all of the AIs involved, the on-page AIs involved, including helpful content and product review. But it's interesting to notice that from straight neural networking using grammatical relationships of subject-predicate relations in strings of text, petroleum is a tier 2 metonym or synonym of one of these words, and I know for a fact it's going to be oil. So you might be like, oh, interesting. And Google doesn't know. Each AI is a dumb intelligence. You put them all together, and that is the artificial intelligence. Amazingly, saying the word petroleum might actually help you on your page. And then you have other ones like your, cat's, kitty, his, their, the, their, it's, her. So you get all these other words. Here's another interesting thing to look at. This there, the, there, it's, her are all words that would be considered stop words by other tools, and they would strip them out and you wouldn't know to use them. But here, through the neural networking and the magic of neural matching and neural networking, we know that these words are matched to the words that you want to rank for. So these words will give you a step up and give you a boost, and they would have a boost in our final score results system. So that's very interesting, and that's the way that neural matching works. And you can port those words over into your content editor, and you can start working on them and adding them to get the best optimized score that the content editor will help you get. And you can get those total results in results, not only for the transformer entities, but for the RankBrain and neural matching single word entities, that whether or not they got good scores in neural matching or not so much in RankBrain or Bert or different AIs. It's all tallied up and added together to give you the best words to be using from top to bottom. And remember, as I showed you, you can always boost up words that seem to do really, really well when you do your deep dive in RankBrain and see the jumps between T100, the top 100 to the top 10, and see interesting jumps there and go, why did that word jump up so much? It could be that it had a huge boost behind it. You can pump up those words and get extra leverage here. In the future, I hope to make it a discretionary point system where you can give it 2 extra points, you can give it 5 extra points. You can be like, hell, I want to give it 19 extra points. I want to make sure it's always at the top of this list and we're always using it for whatever reason, because it's important to your client, it's important to you for your sales, it's the angle you want to go with. Or you saw in RankBrain that, it's like, look, it had a big, huge jump up here, like some of these words, like this word here, step, had a huge jump up in the RankBrain testing. So that's why when it came to the results, you're like, okay, I'm going to go to results and I'm going to find the word step here and see where they rated. Okay, they give it 5 points because it turned up well on one of the tests. But or here's step. That I downvoted because I didn't want to use it. I downvoted it because it kept coming up. But normally in C9, it would have been right up here if I hadn't already downvoted it when I worked on this previously. All right, now let's talk about image entity. So we do in-depth testing on the knowledge graph as well, and we find out in the knowledge graph what image sources you should be using, and also the vision AI that Google has released. We know that they're using it. They admit they're using it here in this page. And we use it as well to find out what images will actually boost you. I would ignore the alt attribute here. You can choose to use it. You can choose to copy it. Now you can copy this image. You can lift it off your competitor's site. You can edit it. You can flip it. I'm not a lawyer. I can't give legal advice. I don't know if that's actually legal in your area, and it could differ from country to country and location to location. All we're saying is that when we tested these images based on the reverse engineered AIs that we know that Google is using, these ones won. They were at the top. They are not just the ones that won in Google image search. This is a different technology we're actually using from the patents and from the white papers. We're actually reverse engineering what Google is doing and using the AIs to tell this image here. And you can just right click and go to open image in new tab to see what it is. And you're like, okay, yeah, for how to advertise on Pinterest, this is a pretty good one here, right? So we're like, okay, that's not too bad. Or you can look at this one here, open image in new tab. That's another one for how to advertise on Pinterest. It's not too bad. Or finally this one, open image new tab. You can use this one as well. You're like, okay, whatever. So we can decide which one you want to use. Again, we are creating here the content brief over time as we make it. So I'm going to go to H1 here and I'm going to say, okay, the image should be this. Here's the image tag we want to use. And I'm just going to change the alt. And as a general rule of thumb, I like to use what the image is about. So what is this image about? Let me see here. It is Pinterest ads. So example of Pinterest ads. So it's honest, the AI, if they have an AI to analyze this, cough, cough, it's honest as to what it's supposed to be doing. It's not spammy, it's not injecting keywords, although it does happen to have 2 of the PMQs that are highly rated in results. Pinterest and ads are some of the higher words, right? Pinterest 19, ads 19. Those are some of the highly weighted keywords you want to stuff in your page. And so I'm using them in the alt attribute there. And you can also see from the competitors here in the alt attribute for the images, you can see that they are using Pinterest, okay. They're using advertising, Pinterest, oh great, they've got keywords in them. That tells me also it is safe because they've got keywords in them. And when we go to DOM vector, you're going to find another place you can look for those things as well. Finally, related entities. Related entities are the related entities to these images. Any or all of these would be great ideas to build out your topical cluster. That is to say, to go on other pages. You shouldn't have ad examples on your page of how to advertise on Pinterest. That's too far afield. You shouldn't have Pinterest video ads on your how to advertise on Pinterest page. This tells you these are related entities. They are too far afield. You know that ad campaigns, business promoted pins, benefits guide, this is different stuff from what this is about, right? This is, these are related entities. not the exact entity. So this tells you what not to do and how far not to go. But these would be great pieces of information that would go on your related topical cluster pages. So not only can you build out your pages with this tool, you can build out your topical cluster pages as well. All right, so now let's look at DOM vector. So DOM vector, what is DOM vector? DOM stands for the document object model. The document object model is the extracted object model that comes from the HTML or the XML, any kind of markup language, but in our case, it'll probably be HTML. All web pages are made in HTML. You know what HTML looks like. HTML looks like this stuff here, where you got, okay, HTML, and you got, okay, the head, and then, oh yeah, the title goes in here, title. Okay, and the title goes in here, and then you close it off. That's what HTML is, right? So the document object model reads the HTML, and it makes an object-oriented model of the HTML. It goes to head, and head goes to body, and body has divs, and body has H1s, and body has paragraph tags, and et cetera, like that. In underground SEO University, we feel it's very important for you to know, based on our testing that I can't really get into, but let's just say that we know that it's very important for you to know what spots it is okay to use, what HTML that Google has machine learned, that it's good to use in your system, in your pages, and also what keywords are okay to put in your various spots. So this is from the document object model. This is the DOM spots. Again, the HTML is the, let me just do that again here. So the HTML, the header is here, the body is here, Adobe, the house elf. No, sorry. The body is here. There's a div tag, and then the div tag is a paragraph tag, and this is your content, right? The HTML is the genetics, and that's lifted into an object model, which is the way people look. The genetics is the code, and then the way people look is the phenotype. There's the genotype and the phenotype. So the HTML is the genetics, the genotype, and the way it looks is the document object model, and that's rendered onto the canvas, that's rendered onto a page like this. This has both HTML behind it and a document object model. Every single page does, including all of your competitors. So this is what we do, all right? So we have a tool here that allows you to spy upon the document object model of all of your competitors. And so this is what I would do here. What you're going to do is you're going to choose your competitors that are the most analogous to the kind of page you want to make. There's a 5-cent word, analogous. What does that mean? The analogous means the kind of page exactly like the one you're going to make, the kind of page that represents the kind of page you want to make. So for example, on how to advertise on Pinterest, I'm probably going to be making a blog style review page, right? So I want to choose the ones out of the top 10 here that are all the blog style review pages that are kind of on the same topic as me. If I was doing a review style page, I wouldn't want to choose an e-commerce page because that's going to have a different document object model. I want to do the one that's the most analogous to all of these here. And so I can quickly check these guys out. I can open this in a new tab and go, okay, here's advertising on Pinterest. So that's not the kind of page, that's not the competitor I want to use. That's the main Pinterest site. That's not a review style, affiliate style blog page I'm trying to make. Now here's Shopify. Is that the kind of page I'm trying to make? We'll open that in a tab and we'll take a look and we'll see, okay, start selling with Shopify. It's the beginner's guide to Pinterest ads. Yeah, this is kind of the same as the page I'm thinking of making here, right? So I could choose them. They'd be one that I could choose. And then there's Hootsuite, has Pinterest ads. Is this a review style? Simple guide 2023. Now you can start to see where they get the guide from. Benefits to advertising, Pinterest ad types. Yeah, this is a review style blog page. That's kind of analogous. Okay, great. We're going to see that. So we would select all the ones that would be analogous, right? Is what we would do. So maybe this Larry Ludwig, maybe this Shopify and Hootsuite we're going to do here. And then let's say we would pick just the ones that seem the same, the step-by-step guide. What about this one? Is this a blog style review page? Yes, look, it's definitely a blog style review page, right? This is the kind of page I'm thinking of making with the same kind of step one headers and paragraphs and stuff like that. So that would be another one here I could select, okay? And you would select all the ones that you want to analyze. You can do up to like 10 at a time. The more you do, the more data you're going to have to look at. And just wait till you see the data we give you here. It's really amazing. No one else in the industry is doing this. Now, it's a lot of data, I'll warn you, but no one else in the industry is doing this. And it gives you all the data you need to know at the end of the day, the machine learning of, because we reverse engineered the machine learning effect is what we're doing. No other tool even knows to do this, never mind does this. And we are checking the DOM spots of where you're allowed to put keywords, and then we're going to check to see what kind of keywords are allowed to go there. And we're also going to look at the attributes that you want to be using as well. What's an attribute? Attribute would be stuff like class equals whatever, right? Class is an attribute. Or, ID equals whatever. ID is an attribute name, this is an attribute value. There's attribute name, attribute value, attribute name, attribute value. We even include those that are common to everyone, because you only want the ones that are machine learned and common to everyone is what we're doing. So just for the sake of example, to make it easy, I'm just going to choose, say 3 of them, and I'm going to use what's common amongst 3 is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to, just to make it easier to look at, and then I'm going to go down to the bottom here, and I'm going to say submit. So what it's going to do now, it's going to analyze and give me all this data in JSON format. It gives me all the data here in JSON format right now. Like I said, this is early days. This is hot off the press. We just built this, but it tells you the URLs that it looked at. It looked at these 3 URLs, and it starts giving you the exact location and attributes of all these different tags, all of the tags in the page, right? All of the tags in the page. Now, to make it easier to look at, we're going to go click copy here, and we're going to say JSON Web Viewer. And we're going to click on this one. This is the one I like to use, and I'm going to paste it into here. Then we're going to say Viewer. And you can see, presto changeo, it gives me a nice object-oriented viewer of all the tags that they're using. Now, really, all we care about is the body. Stuff in the body, we don't have to care about the head, the meta, and whatnot like that. Although we can. We could look at the meta. They all have a meta. They all have the meta in the same place, unsurprisingly. And the meta all has values as an attribute. But we don't think that matters for the machine learning. What we're caring the most about is the document object model for our testing. And so right away, I need to look to see what headers are being used here. Okay, it uses an H1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Let's see. H4 is there's 3 of them, so that means they're used per page. So then I go to attributes, they're using a class and they're using a style, and they're using a style. Okay, so the H4 on all 3 has a class and a style. So now I'm gonna go here to my H4 class and style we wanna use. All right, I'm just gonna start taking these notes. Now in the future, we're gonna compile all this for you and tell you. Right now, to go fully surgical, you have to take these notes. Again, if you wanna go fast, you can ignore a lot of this. They're using a header tag. All 3 of them are using it. Yep, okay. And the header has attributes of class. And the values is entry header. Okay. So we have a header as well. Class is the attribute values equals entry header. That's a header tag, class like this. And so now we know that probably there's going to be H1s and whatnot in here that goes in here. And so I'm going to go through and do this. It's going to take me 20 minutes to do this or so. We'll just skip ahead in the video. But what you would do is you go through, and the degree to which you are close to what you consider the winners to be of the competitors, the ones you want to emulate in terms of their DOM vector, this is what you want to be emulating in terms of what they've got here. And so I want to go through here, and we're going to skip bits, and I'll show you how I would use this. You would go through the span and the div and the whatnot. Let's just analyze the ones that are important. Image, they all use them. All 3 use them, unsurprisingly. The location is in these places that we'll get to in a second. The attributes, the alt values are not the same, but they all have alt, source, class, and decoding. Okay, that's interesting. We all know they have class as well. Interesting. Okay. The image should have class. So we make all these notes, and again, we're going to collect all this for you in the future. Right now, this is state of the art of what we've got. So let's see what the H1s have. The H1s, they all use H1s, not surprising. The location is in these places here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this one here. This is telling me the depth of the machine learning of where the H1 should go. So I'll put that there like this to know that I want to put it in a div main article header, and that's where the H1 is going to go. And this header is going to go here like this, and the H1 is going to go inside it. That's fantastic. The attributes they all have a class. The values is all post title. Fascinating. Okay, so post title. Two of them used post title. So we know that the H1 tag class equals post title. Just paste text in there. We know that that's what we want to use there for that. And if you're like, Josh, I don't understand any of this, well then don't do it. If you don't understand any of this, well, then you wouldn't be doing it, right? You're not going to be doing this stuff if you don't understand it. But if you do understand it, you know that you're going to be wanting to represent the machine learned DOM factor that this tool does, and DOM vector that no other tool does, right? Okay, now let's see the H2s. Now this one's really important. If you stuff keywords in the wrong place here, if you stuff keywords in the wrong tag that's not supposed to have keywords in them, and if they're too strong, you will demote yourself strongly. You will get a huge penalty of over-optimization. For example, if you stuff the EMQ in an H2 and no one else has that. So hopefully I would check the entire top 10, and that's your best bet. If you're not in Underground SEO University, if you're in Underground SEO University, we have an alternate method for doing this, which is far more efficient, far more powerful, and far more accurate. Sadly, that's proprietary information. That's our intellectual property of Underground SEO University. I can't release it here, but I can tell you that using your competitors is not a half bad way of doing it. And so I feel perfectly ethical in recommending that. If you want to know the best way of doing it, join Underground SEO University. Now, I could see all three of my competitors use an H2, so it's safe to use an H2. Where is the H2 located? Well, it gives me the average area of all these H2s. And you might be like, okay, well, Josh, well, how am I supposed to create a machine learned average of all of these? Well, in the future, we'll do it for you. But right now, what you're going to do, you're going to highlight all this. You're going to take this and Control-C this. Now we're going to go back to ChatGPT. And we're going to say, please give me the average nesting of the H2 tag from these examples. Please give me the average place the H2 shows up from these HTML structures. And again, in the future, we're going to do this for you. But right now, this is new. We just made this. We'll go into ChatGPT, and ChatGPT is pretty smart. So it starts giving me the place. And so that's not quite what I want. Please give me the average nesting for the using the above format. Says it is not possible to give you the average nesting. Okay, so if it does that, that means that these ones are throwing it off. We're going to go with these ones here, which are more like what is going on. We're going to edit this, and with these ones that are too long, we're going to get rid of and say, okay, use those ones. No, okay, we're going to get rid of this. This is another thing we're going to do, Control-C. We're going to go back to Notepad here. We'll make it easier. We'll make it easier for ChatGPT. Paste that in, and we're going to say, all right. First off, we're going to get rid of that. highlight this. We're going to say Control H. And this, we're going to say replace with nothing. Boom. Okay. Now we're going to go down here. We're just going to get rid of all these numbers here. Okay, those are all the same. I'll leave that like that. Boom, 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 boom. I don't care about the footer. Don't care about the footer. I want the main article. Boom, 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 boom. As I said, in the future, we're going to do this for you automatically, but it's so cool that right now you can visualize it. You can see what your competitors are doing on average. And we don't want the aside here either. So main article, div, article. I can almost do this by eye now. Okay, it's like, okay, there's one of these. There's div main div, there's div. So more have article than don't. Only one has section. So actually, this is where the H2 should go, quite frankly. And not only is this where the H2s go, these are where all the content's going to go, like this. I just eyeball it now that I've cleaned it up. But just to show you how that would work, you would take this, you paste this in here, and you'd say, okay, do that. And then you'd say, like this, /tag /H2. Yeah, so it says, okay, it's all div main div, or div main article div H2. All of them have in common is this, div main div is what they all have in common, which is I'm going to use. So I'm going to go here to my page, and I'd say, okay, so the H2 and all content goes here into this. Good to know. That's where I want to put all that stuff. We can also have article in here to keep it consistent. We could do that. So it's close enough. And you might be surprised. You're like, you want that many divs in there, really? And the answer is yeah. Yeah, that many divs is good. I can also just use the H1 here and just not the header and put them all in article divs here. Actually, I could do this here too, like this, now that I've already grabbed that. We could do that as well. And they just go inside of a div to keep that consistent. And now I want to check the H2, what classes it should have, and what attributes it should have, and what kind of, as a spot, we're all using it. So let's check here. The answer is yes, as a spot, they're all using H2. Okay, great. Now what attributes do they have? Class, values. They have class, that's it. So H2 just has a class attribute. So H2 class equals whatever. It was inspecific as to what we need to say there. Now, can keywords go in here is the question. Now, what I need to do for that right now is I need to go here into KeyWordSpy, and I need to go into competitor page analysis, and I need to check the H2s. So, and I'll be getting a little bit more into this, but I need to check the H2s of the competitors. So view content, click view content, and you can see the contents of their headers really quickly. So your artwork, I'm looking here for keywords. I'm looking here, I'm eyeballing it. Again, in the future, we're going to tell you this automatically. Right now, you want to eyeball it look for the EMQ, PMQ, or AI keywords. So how to advertise on Pinterest. Start, sell, marketplace, popular, essential, help and support. Okay, I see PMQs there. Third one, tons of PMQs are safe to use in the H2 apparently. Fourth one, tons of PMQs are safe to use in the H2. Fifth one, tons of PMQs are safe to use in the H2. Sixth one, tons of PMQs are safe to use in the H2. Seventh one, again, tons of PMQs are safe to use in the H2. In the future, we'll just analyze this, but And look, at the bottom, they're not using keywords in the H2. That's a major sign that maybe keywords in the H2 boost, and maybe having H3s, H4s, and H5s, and H6s boost as well, because we saw the other ones have up to H4s, and this one doesn't have one, and it's at the bottom of the SERP. Also, finally, this guy has a lot of different words in the H2, but not PMQs, really. I don't really see PMQs here. And look, no H4s either. So you start to see patterns. That tells me, okay, that's actually pretty important. That's actually pretty important based on what we're doing here. So that tells me, yes, PMQs are safe. Not only are PMQs safe and advisable, because the competitors at the bottom of the SERP don't have them. So this is going to be a huge ranking for you. Huge ranking factor for you is what this is going to be. To get it right, if you put keywords in here when you shouldn't, because the machine learning doesn't allow it, then it's over-optimized. But if you put keywords in here, if you don't put keywords in here when your competitors have them, they're boosting from it, then you're leaving a whole bunch of ranking points on the table. So that, in a nutshell, is how the DOM vector works. I would go back here and I would check out also the H3s. Are they used? Yes, all of them are using them. The attributes, the location is similar. They're in article, they're in divs, they're in mains. Okay, same place. All right, I got the right structure of the DOM. Let's look at the attributes. They got class. The values are various. So fine, values. So again, H3. Unsurprisingly, needs a class. H3 class equals whatever. Now, can I use keywords in here? I have to look again. What keywords can I use in here is the question. Let's take a look here again at the competitor page analysis. In terms of the general usage, you can see, yeah, H3s are used, H4s are used, H5s and H6s are the outliers. H4 is used in 3 of the ones that I selected. They're used in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the top 10. So it's up to you if you want to use H4s or not. Probably want to. A bunch of the top 10 are using them. But what is the content of the H3s? So they don't have one. They have one. Okay, view content. H3s are PMQ safe. Here, H3s are PMQ. Not a lot of PMQs being used here. Here we go. A few are being used. I'd say 1.5 using them. H3s are, again, a few are using them, but they're not being used all over the place. 4, again, this is not using a lot of PMQs in here. I would be using AI keywords in here, probably. 5, Pinterest business account, advertising, ad content. Not a lot of PMQs in here. 6, a couple minor ones, but again, because I'm eyeballing it, you're not getting any percentage. It's hard to do. We're gonna add this up for you in the future, but this was just hot off the press, and I wanted to show you guys because I was super happy about it. It's super powerful, and there's no other tool that does this. That even gives you close to the information you need. So not a lot. Different focus in the H3s. So I would say I would err on the side of caution, and I would say use AI keywords here. Non-match PMQ. Definitely not stuffing your EMQ in here. And last but not least, the H4, which we started with because we saw it above here. It's being used on the 3 pages that we thought were important to analyze. Class and style. Class and style, which we got. And I would use, I would just replace that here and just do an H4 here like this. And I would say also style is being used. You can leave nothing. I would use AI keywords in here as well. PMQs are safe and advisable to H2. So that's a major thing that you need to know that would either boost you majorly or demote you majorly. This is worth 4 or 5 spots right here, getting that right. So we've got the basic structure of the headings and of where the content's going to go. We know that image class is necessary. In the future, we'll filter all the rest of these up, but you would basically go through the rest. You look at the EM, you'd be like, okay, do all of them have it? 2 of them have it, good, use it. The attributes, they have no attributes, so use an EM. So I should definitely be using an EM. And what else would you use? H6, no, only 1 uses it, so you're not going to use it. Form, 2 use it, so you're going to want to use a form in here somewhere. Label, a bold tag, 1 uses it, don't use the bold tag. Let's see what else. An I tag, 1 uses it, don't use the I tag because it's not common amongst all the competitors, right? You want to use what's common to the top 10. Over 50% or more, probably 60% are using it. It's safe to use it. An ordered list, should we be using an ordered list? Nope, only 1 is using it. So that's not where you want that. Let's see what else. I tag, bold tag. Where's a strong tag? That's another way of doing bold. They all use strong tag. Look at that. And the attributes, the class value is okay. So strong with they want to use a strong with a class equals whatever. Again, it can be whatever because it was not, the attribute name wasn't machine learned to be the same. Just the attribute value, sorry, wasn't machine learned to be the same. It was only the attribute name. Attribute name was machine learned to be the same amongst at least 100% of all the ones that we thought were important here. I would be analyzing the full top 10 usually. The value was in specific. So then we should have, now what is safe to go in the strong tag? We don't know that yet. We will tell you that in the future. I would be using AI keywords in here. I would not be putting PMQs and EMQs in here, just so you know. So I'm giving all these suggestions for my content editor, who could be anyone, including myself, my notes for myself later on. I've got all my HTML notes now. Let's say I've gone through all the tags that I care about using. The paragraph tag, yeah, they all use them, unsurprisingly. The attributes are class, the values are, okay, so the P tag here, we put in here, P should have class equals whatever, and then content goes here. All the paragraph content, all the paragraph text anyway, will go in here. And so we go through all the ones here, and in the future we'll bubble this up for you what's most important. Here's an unordered list. Do they all use them? They do. Okay. So I should probably be using a list item, or is going to go in the ID values and class values. Okay, so the unordered list I could also be using as well. Now I wondered, the unordered list, is it usually going in the header? It's going in a drop-down menu. Oh, look, Wix drop-down. You see this sometimes where you're like, does using Wix boost you? If everyone else is using it, then yes, it's machine learned. If no one else uses it, then it's not machine learned, it'll hurt you. So right now, it looks like they're going in nav sections. I see nav, I see footer, I see nav here, I see footer, nav. And again, we're going to analyze this for you in the future, but right now you have to eyeball it. Nav, div, article. But for those of you who are used to HTML, I can just look through this really quick. Main. Header, yeah, this isn't the header. This is the nav section. This is actually the nav section. So I'm not reproducing the nav section in the content editor. I just have to know that I want that somewhere. So I definitely want to be using a unordered list in here. It's another thing we could be using as an unordered list, and it would have it had both what, a ID and a class. Okay, ID was on all of them. Yeah, and it's telling you which ones had it. Tags per count. It had 125, this one had 167. This one had 42 of them. So if you're like, how many should I be using? Well, average that out. That's how many you should be using. 125 plus 167, that's, call it 320, plus that 360 divided by 3. Well, about 100 and, about 100 per, at least 100 UL tags. So that's their total navigation. That's from their navigation section of all the navigation they have. So that's an interesting way of looking at it, right? So the UL, I can definitely throw in there 100 in total, including nav sections. Check your own site. So you're like, oh my God, Josh, this could be a lot of work to do. And I'm like, yeah, it would be a lot of work. If you don't know HTML, it'll be a lot of work. If you don't have good access to the web design team, it'll be a lot of work. Our tool will start bubbling this up and make it easier for you in the future. I've got other tricks and tips that'll make this easier as well. That you can do this way faster and you don't need to worry about it really too much. But for those of you who need to squeeze out every little last bit of ranking juice, our tool lets you squeeze out every little last bit of ranking juice. So this is a super cool feature. The DOM vector allows you to look at the document object model of not only one competitor, but multiple competitors. And basically, if you want to do this right, you're pretty much looking at all of page 1 and then removing anything else here that's not comparable. For example, let's say you're in a niche that had e-commerce and blog review. As I said before, if you're an e-commerce page, you only choose the e-commerce competitors that are like you, right? And if you're in, and the ones that have more than 60% real estate, more than 6 out of the 10 on page 1. For example, for this one, I wouldn't choose Pinterest. It's not a good example. It's ranking there because Pinterest.com is in here. Clearly that's why that's ranking here. I would ignore this one. I might even ignore Shopify and Hootsuite as being too big, and HubSpot. But these ones are comparable to me. These are the ones I might analyze if in doubt, and I would analyze these ones and I would run the JSON process here. I would submit that and wait for it to process. Then also, I didn't have to go to the JSON viewer. I could have just searched H1 quotation here and then find the H1 tag and see, okay, look, I checked all these ones. Here's the location of all of them. I could have put this right into ChatGPT. It says the class values are here, attribute count 12. Okay, great. Now, the H2 is right here. I could just went down H1, H2 and started going down on all my competitors. So I know what the weird and wacky DOM element structure is going to be that I need to, that for better or for worse, got machine learned in Google, and now it's giving a boost to those who are close to it and or demotion for those who are far away. That's how Google polices whether it's an e-commerce SERP or a review style SERP, or if Wix gives you the boost, or if Wix doesn't give you a boost, it's because it's machine learned in the code. And that's how this all works. And join Underground SEO University if you want to see the proof for that. But this is one of the only kind of things I will strongly recommend you pay attention to without giving away the secrets. But if I'm recommending it, then what do you think the answer is of how our testing went? So I would recommend you think of it. It could be the reason why you can't get on page 1. It could be because you are so far away from the averages of how this plays out. So that's the DOM vector. And so I went through and I went and made all my suggestions here of all the tags I want to be using and how I would use them and whether keywords go in them safely or not. This is the most powerful on-page tool. So you know exactly what it is you're supposed to be doing here for all the stuff in the body of the content. So now, just to summarize, we got the URL, one of the suggestions. We got the title, which got the RankBrain preference, the Bert neuromatching preference. We have the meta description, which I used ChatGPT to generate because it made a longer one. I thought, yeah, that's good enough. I don't really care. We've got the H1. I'm going to be putting keywords in the H1, whether the competitors do or not. I can guarantee they do, so I don't even have to check. I got the image I want to use. I got the H2 I want to use. I know where I'm going to put it, and I know where I'm putting all the content as well. It's all going to go in this div main article div, which makes sense. And the H1 is going to go in div main article header, which makes sense. H1 is going to go in there. The nav could also go in this. It depends on how people want to use the header tag. It's really up to them. And they even had a common class. Isn't that interesting? I see this all the time, like ARIA, for example. A lot of people use that. A lot of people use Wix. You know, you can get common classes and things like that that are the same amongst pages. And if you don't use it, you're going to get demotions. Isn't that wacky that Google would do it that way? But this is what our testing shows. So this is what I'm recommending you do. All right. So that's the DOM vector. Again, it's just early days, guys. I know it can look a little time consuming, but it didn't take me that long to do it. And if you're doing in-house or you're doing a surgical SEO, or if you're trying to rank for important niches, you have to spend the time. You have to spend this time and be a better SEO than everyone else. And this tool is giving you the information to be a better SEO than everyone else. And we're just going to be analyzing this better with artificial intelligence and making more intelligent suggestions to put you on autopilot to do this in the future. So get in the grandfathered price now, because we're just going to make this work better in the future. So you just press a button and it spits a page out for you with all of this done. That's where we want to go with this in the future. So get the grandfather price now, because I guarantee to you, when it's a push button publishing for all these factors, the RankBrain factors, the BERT factors, the neural matching factors, the image factors, the DOM vector factors, when we analyze all this out for you for the on page, and you can just press a button and it auto generates with all that, with or without content, I guarantee to you the price is going to be in the thousands per month. Okay? So get grandfathered, get into the grandfathered price now, so you can have the benefit of all this AI wisdom that is doing the reverse engineering, and based on all of the super secrets that Underground SEO University has found, get into the grandfather price now. And then the two last ones, the competitor page analysis, which I've shown you a little bit already in other tutorials previously that I've been talking about here. Here is the snapshot of what everyone is using in terms of the count on the words. Here's the number of H1s they're using on the page, so you know how many H1s you want to use on average. And here's the number of H2s you want to use on average. You want to use 10 H2s on average with an average of 45 words, 18 H3s, 10 H4s. For those who are using it, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's half of them. And I wouldn't bother using H5s and H6s because less than half of them use it, right? So I wouldn't find that that's machine learned into the vector of what's going to give you the boost there. So this is how you would structure your pages. So you're like, okay, I want on average 10, minimum, the lowest is 4, the most is 25. Okay, well the average here is 10 and they all have it. The page one SERP all has it. So I'm gonna copy these over here to H4 is the deeper one here. I'm gonna go, okay, just more notes for myself here. Main content notes. And I'm gonna go, boom. I'm gonna go, okay, H1 is this. The H2 equals this. The H3 equals this. A lot of H3s, wow. And the H4 equals this. So I'm just going to separate this out so it makes sense. So this is count and number of words on average per tag is what that is. So you know the kind of keywords you're supposed to be using here, and you know how many words on average you're supposed to be using, so you know how rich it's supposed to be. And in constructing the entire page now, we get a sense of, okay, the spots we're allowed to use keywords, what kind of keywords we're allowed to use, how rich it's supposed to be in general for not only per section and per tag, but because we're going to do the section later, but how to match what other people called keyword density. Now, keyword density is an old way of looking at it. It's not the way it works anymore, but this tool gives you the full data of how to match your competitors in terms of the keywords you should be using, the attributes you should be using, the tags you should be using, because that's how Google looks at it. Google looks at it in the tag level, in the document object model level. They've admitted it in podcasts. Gary Ilyish and John Mueller and that other guy who does the JavaScript ones. They do the podcasts. They used to. They fully admitted it in these podcasts and the patents that they released and whatnot. We reverse engineered it. We've listened to the whole thing, reverse engineered it. So, and in Underground SEO University, this is what we do, and this is how we get on page one in one move. This is how you get in page one in one move, is by doing all this stuff. Now, you can go fast and get on page 2 in one move and then boost it from there. It's up to you. It depends on your style of SEO and what you want to do. But anyway, the competitor analysis here gave me the summaries of what I want to be using and gives me also at a glance, just for the headers, if you don't want to do the other tags, like I also did the form tag and the EM tag and the whatnot. If you just want to do the headers, you can just do that at a glance right here. And a lot of this is also ported into the content editor, which I'll show you later. It also shows you the sentiment of positive, so you know you're not doing an attack style article or you're not being neutral either. It's either negative, neutral, or positive. You know you want to be pro ads on Pinterest, which it didn't take a brainiac to tell you that. If you're writing a how to advertise on Pinterest review style blog page, well then you want to be positive about it. It's an advertorial. You're trying to sell this, right? You're trying to sell them doing it. Even though, remember, to be honest and make a good article, we are going to include the cons of what you want to avoid, but that's just being an expert, right? Just being an expert will remind them of the cons they're supposed to be watching out for here, right? And the readability. This is the Flesch-Kincaid readability. You can check out the readability of the Flesch-Kincaid system on Wikipedia. It doesn't average it up here for you. It should, sorry. It does do that in the content editor. It'll tell you what yours is, and based on, and then what the average is for the competitor. It does that on the content editor. But right here, it doesn't do that. But you can see it's pretty much from 40 to 80. So in the middle, 60. You want to have it really around 60 is the sweet spot. Check out the Flesch-Kincaid readability tests here. 60 is between 10th and 9th grade reading. So plain English, easily understood. This is, 60 to 70 is pretty good to go there. The higher, the easier to read. There's certain reasons why you'd want to seem professional, and there's certain reasons why you'd want to be writing at a very low level, because it makes it easier to read. So 50 to 60 makes sense to me. 50 might be a little difficult to read. I would lean on the side of 60 to 70 is where I would go, and make it easier to read for people to understand what's going on. And as you can see, your competitors are around the same level. They're on the higher side of what's going on here. Okay. And if you want to view the content, again, as I said, you can view the content here. It shows you the H1s, shows you the headings to sneak on their headings and see what they're using. You can also click the copy button to copy ones you want to use here. So that's a super cool competitive page analysis. Also, on the bottom of the competitive page analysis, it's also telling you whether they're over-optimized or under-optimized, or optimized using our system here of optimization based on the scoring and where you're allowed to put different keywords in different DOM spots. So let's get into some detail of how this works here. So you got the page status, shows you whether it's under-optimized as based on our scoring systems, which are a very complex mathematical algorithm of how the over and under optimization actually works based on a lot of things, including the machine learning of SpamBrain, the DOM spots you're allowed to use, the keywords you're allowed to use in them, how rich they are. And we score this on two different ways. Rank here, as you see here, the lower number is worse, so to speak. It is our NLP topical score. It really means topical focus. How topical is the page? How focused is it? So the lower this number is, the worse it is. And so it makes sense that this says it's really low and it says it's under optimized. But because it's Pinterest, that's why it's ranking there. Because look, Pinterest, you're allowed to use that keyword because you are Pinterest, which is a PMQ in the URL, which yes, the URL still is a major place to put keywords. And so it's under optimized tremendously. And when we looked at the page, you saw why. Look at the page. Look how few keywords it has, right? For all I know, Google's not even scraping the rest of this and getting the rest of this, for all I know. So that's why it's under optimized, but because it's from Pinterest page, that's why it's allowed to be there. This is why this is an outlier you should ignore in the places I told you to ignore it. So this topical score is quite low. It just has a high weight in these DOM spots of the URL, and that's why it's there, but otherwise it's quite under optimized. And so the page score, this percentage here, goes like this. 1 to 10% is over-optimized. 11 to 25% is considered in the optimized range, based again on kind of a general score of all these factors put in together by our AI. And when 26 to 100% is under-optimized. So, and the bigger it is, the more under-optimized it is. The smaller it is, the more over-optimized it is. So the smaller is the under-optimized here, the smaller is the over-optimized here. So it's kind of two different ways of looking at it. This is based on a different technology of neural matching topicality. This is based on a different technology here in terms of our score in the system. And so this one's over-optimized because it's in the 9.2 range. As I said, that'll be over-optimized. It's number 8th in terms of richness in all of the competitors. It's over-optimized here. And but for the topicality, it's under-optimized. So this is the difference between using keywords and using all words. Do you see the difference? So this is using keywords. You can be both under-optimized and over-optimized at the same time. This one is using too many EMQ, PMQ, and AI keywords in DOM spots. That's why it's at 9.2%. and it's the 8th highest out of all of them, out of the top 100 that we were able to scrape, or all of the top 100 we were able to scrape. Some pages resist scraping, like you see number 10 is missing. That's why it's missing, because it resisted scraping. But from our scrapers, we're able to scrape, you know, as much of the top 100 as we can. I think we got probably about 80 of them there, or not 70, 80. And this one here is using way too many keywords, so the page score is way too high. So page score really is in terms of keywords in spots. Really, when you can think about it that way, and it's over optimized, right? This information will also be in the content editor too, but you can check it in a glance here if you're trying to do some analysis as to whether or not you want to go for keywords. It's over optimized here, but it's under optimized in terms of lower is worse in terms of the total topical focus. That means lower means it goes off topic in many words, mostly in the main content. So there's different ways you can be over optimized and under optimized. You can be over and under optimized in the words you use in the main content. You can be under and over optimized, or just right optimized in the keywords in spots. And so that's why this one's using too many keywords, but it goes off a topic. And they use too many keywords to try to make up for going off a topic, right? So what you want is this number to be high, like you want this to be, you know, 40, 41. The average here for the top here seems to be, we got from 2 to 40. So divided by 10, you know, 20 seems to be the magic number here. This is the magic number, but this is too low, right? It's not quite optimized yet, although it's pretty close. The optimal range for this, as I said, is 11 to 25, sorry, to be optimized. So this is pretty close. It's the 27th richest keyword stuffed. You could think of page score as keyword stuffing, and you could think of rank as the topicality of the total number of pages, words used in the main content of the page. So that's a great little way of looking very quickly at your who's optimized and over optimized and under optimized. And that just is two different factors of way of looking at it. We're going to add more ways of looking at it in the future. And you might be like, okay, Josh, well, why is this optimized page on page 2? Well, because this is not the only factor. They are highly optimized in terms of using keywords. They don't have maybe enough content, right? They're not that, in terms of the word length, they don't have a lot of content and enough content. So that's their total on-page profile. But that doesn't mean they have enough, all the other off-page and off-site signals that they're supposed to have as well. So we'll be adding in those signals later into the tool. Right now, it's just an on-page tool for content generation to do all your on-page SEO for you automatically. All right, and last, test pages is something special that SEO University gets, and only SEO University gets. If you want to see what's under the test pages and the kind of extra testing you can do, and the really super cool stuff you can do, you have to join Underground SEO University. That's not available to the public. And finally, results. As I've mentioned in other sections of this tutorial I was doing earlier than this, let me just quickly go through the results. The results are the total result of all the scoring we do for RankBrain testing, Bert testing, neural matching testing, and score them all together. So you're using the absolute best words in your page, and that gets pulled into the AI spy in terms of the winning words. That gets pulled into the winning words for the query intent of Bert. If I say add winning words here, it pulls in the winning words here from results. And in the future, that's going to include the one that we've boosted, because we're going to make it a discretionary point system. So it's included into that. So it gets pulled into the winning words as well. If you want to boost words or lower words, we'll have a discretionary point system that will add that in the future. That'll be quite handy to do if there's words you know for sure you want, or words you know for sure you don't. And basically, it's using the wisdom of all the different AI testing, the BERT, the RankBrain testing, the neural matching testing, and it's adding it all into a cohesive score, so you know what words overall you should be using, because RankBrain likes this word, but BERT likes this phrase, but neural matching likes this word. All of that gets added up into a score and totaled here for you to use the best words every time, and it pulls it into the various AIs to generate the title, the meta description, and the H1. You also see that in the content editor as well. And just to explain the differences between the phrases and the words, again, in case you haven't caught that in previous parts of this tutorial or other tutorials I've done, the phrases are BERT entities, or any entity for a transformer, which includes BERT, which is one of their transformers. It's the bidirectional encoder representations from transformer, but also that includes the helpful content transformer and the product review transformer, which we think are T5, which is an open source transformer that Google has put out. We've read the patents on it, we've tested it. It only makes sense that it's T5 because T5 has a token size of 10,000 tokens, which is about 2,000 to 5,000 words. And so that's the only transformer big enough to scan a whole page to tell you if it's helpful or to tell you if it has the helpful product stuff, if it has the expertise that they want demonstrated in the page. And these are the entities that we think those transformers might be interested in seeing, and how to create pins, how to target your audience for this particular keyword, optimize campaigns, and leverage hashtags we think are important, and we score them accordingly. Also, you can just say, just show me the words. And these are more the RankBrain words and the neural matching words. And we score up the Bert test. We score up a special kind of Bert test. It gives you a special score of how often these are being used in the Bert test here or the RankBrain test here. It's a very similar test of ultimately whether these words have weight as compared to your competition. The neural matching RankBrain test is a special patented, I want to say it's not really patented, but I want to say a special secret recipe test, a secret test that we do in Underground SEO University, which really proves that these words are beneficial to use. But the best test is our neural matching test, where we actually use neural networking and test the neural networking system and process those in terms of tiers, as I mentioned before. The tiers of synonyms or metonyms get the highest points, and that, as you can see, they're weighed highest in the system because they are very powerful AIs that Google uses. Neural matching is very high, very powerful words, keywords they use for ranking that I definitely want to pay attention to where I use them in my various spots here. And I care very much. They're very powerful AI keywords that would be almost as powerful or as powerful as a PMQ or even the EMQ, but I don't have to use it. That's how neural matching words is how Google can rank a page for an EMQ, like how to advertise on Pinterest, that doesn't say anything about advertising or how to Pinterest. It could be like promote ads on Pinterest. They know that that's pretty much the same query intent because of BERT and because of the neural matching as well, because those synonym words are included. So that's why these are really highly weighted in the system, and you should be definitely using them when you go over to the content editor. Okay, folks, so that is the full tutorial for KeyWordSpy on the reports section of how you use reports of RankBrain, neural matching, BERT, image, DOM vector, and competitive analysis, and the full results scoring system that we use that factors into all the other sections inside. If you have any questions at all, ask me wherever you can find me. Twitter @JoshBashinsky, email me joshbashinsky@gmail.com, go to Try KeyWordSpy and ask questions there. Try KeyWordSpy. Remember, you want to get grandfathered in the low price of the top of our first 100 users, because the price of this tool is just going to go up in the future because of all the state-of-the-art next generation AI stuff that it's going to do. Some tools like this are $500, $1,000, $2,000 a month. So it's not crazy that the price would get that high. We're limiting the amount of people who are going to use this tool. This is not a tool for everyone to use. This is only for select top-level pros to use. So, and those people who want to become a top-level pro. I'm super excited to bring this to you. I'm super excited to show this tool to you guys. Also watch for my other tutorials on KeyWordSpy. They're going to be on my channel here. They'll also be at trykeywordspy.com. And watch for the next tutorial. You're like, okay, Josh, well, I watched all the tutorials or the main tutorial on how to do the reports, and I saw how you built out the content brief. Now, how do we use the content editor and pull it all in and make it all work and build our page? That's the next tutorial I'll be making for you guys on how to use the content editor. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. As always, good luck in the SERPs. It's a very exciting time to be in SEO with next generation AI tools like this, which are basically going to do all of your advanced SEO, testing it the way that Google actually tests it, and do all your SEO for you on autopilot. Super exciting times. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial, and I'll see you next time.